Hello, and welcome back to Zenin Fanfics. Today we're starting an exciting new series. What if Deku had green mineral quirk? If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe for more content. The story we're featuring is written by Lotus Moon Veil on Wattpad. You can find all the relevant links in the description, so be sure to check out the author's profile and say hello. Now let's dive into the story. Izuku Midoriya was a simple child growing up. When he was of age for his quirk to manifest, instead of being a flashy quirk, he got one that made him a big target. At first, no one noticed that it manifested until a friend of his, Katsuki Bakugo, accidentally blew of a chunk of his arm when he tripped. Instead of screaming or grabbing where he was hit, Izuku didn't even notice. It wasn't until he noticed that the entire room was silent that he looked up from his drawing and saw a chunk of his arm on his table. For a few minutes, Izuku just stared at it, then picked it up. Where did this come from? Why does it look familiar? That's when he saw a part of a temporary tattoo Katsuki gave him for his birthday was on it. "Kakin, is this part of me?" Izuku asked as he shakily looked at his arm. Instead of screaming, Izuku was dumbstruck. He was no longer flesh and BLD. He was now living emeralds, and the chunk that was blasted off was already regrowing as if nothing happened. Tendrils of green gold reformed as veins, while emerald flesh and porcelain skin covered it all. Once it was done healing, it even reformed the bit of temp tattoo that was blasted off. Izuku was ecstatic. My quirk manifested. Now I could be a hero like All Might. He quickly hugged Katsuki. "Let's be heroes together, Kakin." Unfortunately, then another aspect of Izuku's quirk showed itself as he accidentally broke Katsuki's arm as he hugged him, making Izuku cry. "I'm sorry, Kakin, I didn't mean to." The teacher then called Katsuki's mom, Izuku's mom, and a nearby hospital for an ambulance. When both moms arrive, they see Katsuki trying to calm down a crying Izuku, who's constantly apologizing. Inko Midoriya quickly walked over to her son and knelt down. "Izuku, honey, what happened?" Through his tears, Izuku barely says, "My quirk manifested and I broke Kakin's arm." "Auntie Mitsuki here." Izuku hands Katsuki's mom the chunk of his arm, which she instantly recognizes as a part of him. "Inko, you calling Izuku an energetic emerald called it. I do see jade and something metallic in the emerald though," Mitsuki said as she showed Inko the part she was given. "Mom, Auntie Inko, can you make Izuku stop crying? He's going to flood the school." Katsuki asked as the ambulance arrives. The medic quickly puts Katsuki's arm in a cast and tells Mitsuki the usual cast care stuff. Once the ambulance leaves, Katsuki gets an idea. "Izuku, I have an idea. Imagine forming a mom. What's Izuku made of now?" Mitsuki and Inko look at Katsuki confused. "Emerald, what are you thinking?" Katsuki walked over to Izuku and whispered something into his ear. After a couple of minutes, a small shell of emerald wraps around where Izuku's arm was blasted off. Smiling, Katsuki said, "There now, we are even. You must wear that till tomorrow, okay?" Izuku just nodded so fast, he must have gotten whiplash. Inko chuckling, "Izuku, how about we go to a doctor and maybe a jeweler to see what you are now?" "May I come too?" Katsuki asked excitedly. Mitsuki laughed as Inko said it would be fine. After a doctor and then a jeweler, they found out what Izuku's body is now made of. His bones are now the finest jade ever found. His veins turned into the greenest 24-karat green gold. His flesh is the purest emerald the jeweler had ever seen, and his skin a porcelain that acts like skin. The quartet went out to eat katsudon as a celebration that Izuku had a quirk. Little did they know the trouble it would cause. After about a month, Inko tried to cut Izuku's hair and his nails, only for all her clippers to break before she remembered that Izuku was a walking jewel. It's easy to forget since he still ate, drank, and slept like he used to. After Izuku apologized for ruining his mom's clippers, she took him back to the jeweler, who luckily had the tools on him to trim his hair and nails. Both were green diamond, and his hair was flexible still even after it was cut. Izuku and Inko left happy and a bit richer too, as instead of having to pay for the trimming, they got paid for the gems. On their walk home, Izuku got distracted by an All Might display, which made Inko chuckle. "Okay, Izu, which ones do you want this time?" After pointing out the 6, he wanted Inko walked him inside and put him in a kid's chair the store had telling him to stay put. As Inko waited in line, a strong man grabbed Izuku and tried to run with him. This prompted the poor Emerald Boy to scream, making his mom drop everything to chase the man. After running a few blocks, he hid in an alley and called someone on his phone as he kept Izuku quiet with his other hand. I got the living Emerald Boys. We will be rich as hell as we chop this run up. I just hope he doesn't die as we do it. The guy chuckled as he gave his partners his current location and waited. This is when Izuku remembered what Katsuki had him do. If he could form a fake cast on his arm, maybe he could do it to this guy. When the guy relaxes a few minutes after he realizes no heroes are nearby, that's when Izuku is stuck with a solid stomp on the guy's foot, breaking it. As the man yelled in pain and reached down to grab his foot, emerald tendrils grabbed the man and lift the 7 feet, 300 pounds man into the air. Izuku, proud of his work, walked into the street before tying the man to a nearby light pole with emerald HNDCFFS and a jade cast around the foot he broke. Can someone please contact the cops and heroes? This guy tried to kidnap me. Izuku was shaking as the adrenaline left his system, making the poor Emerald Cinnamon Roll look completely terrified. Within seconds, 5 heroes and a SWAT team arrive along with Inko, who rushed over to her son, hugging him. The police and heroes asked Izuku to remove the cuffs and the cast since even one who was super strong couldn't break it. Izuku walked over and absorbed the 2 items only for the guy to punch him. The muscle-bound would-be kidnapper was instantly subdued after he sent Izuku's head through a nearby bookstore window. The kidnapper looked smug. "Don't be mad, Beach. Now you're rich." He then started to laugh until he saw something that scared him. Izuku's head was on a jade skeleton and slowly reforming his emerald flesh, green gold veins, and porcelain skin as if nothing happened. Once his shoulders formed, he formed a long shirt made out of green gold threads, so nothing too personal was seen. "Mommy, I'm okay, but I'm scared." Izuku ran to him, Mom, as attempted murder of a minor was added to the kidnapper's charges. After Izuku calmed down, he removed his clothes from his old body by breaking it and splitting the shards with the bookstore, the SWAT team, and the heroes that showed up. That's when he met his idol. Izuku didn't realize it at first since he had his head down. All Might chuckling, "Thank you so much, young one. I bet you'd be a great hero when you grow up." When he heard his voice, Izuku looked up and went into total fanboy mode and asked for an autograph. Inko, the heroes, and the cops were still there were laughing at how quickly he perked up hearing All Might's voice. All Might actually removed his gloves and handed them to the hyper little boy after signing both of them. "All Might, here you go, young one. I think this is a fair trade." As he said that, he showed Izuku that the chunk he received had the temporary tattoo of him on it. This made Izuku blush, as All Might said that he will cover it in resin and keep it forever. This made Izuku hug him gently before he left with his mom. Unfortunately, there were plenty attempts to kidnap Izuku over the next 10 years. Eventually, Izuku just encases people who attempt it and wait for the cops. Over the years of haircuts, nail clippings, some accidents where he gets hurt, and some bounties because of kidnappers had made the Midoriyas and the Bakugos rich. Both Katsuki and Izuku planned to go to UA to be heroes. Izuku's POV: "It has been 10 years since I found out what my quirk is. Over those long, tortuous years, I've actually made a special tally system for each event that happens. I have 369 jade marbles for attempted kidnapping, 122 green diamond marbles for muggings, 22 green gold ball bearings for hostage situations, and luckily only 5 emerald marbles for how many times people have tried to kill me. These marbles are currently in a box under my bed. My mom doesn't know about 90% of these event marbles, so she won't worry about me. It's the last day of school until I go to either a general education high school or UA. The day went on as usual, people bugging me for money or gems, Kakin scaring them off, us getting into the classroom, and going through today's lessons. At the end of the day, the teacher joked about us all wanting to be heroes, so no need for a job placement test. Kakin then yelled, "Don't lump me and Izuku with these extras. Both of us are going to UA." That's when the class JRK spoke. "Yeah, you'll both get in by bribing your way through the test. The muscle-bound idiot said. I bet Izuku will pay off the entire group of people taking the test to fail, so only you two get in. With that, his 3 goons chuckled as he walked over to me. By the way, Emerald Boy, you owe me money for putting my dad in jail. I sighed, already tired of this. Listen here, Rocks for Brains. If your dad didn't try to kill me 10 years ago, he wouldn't be in jail. That's right, the first person who tried to kidnap me was this idiot's father. The brute then punched me. In the split second before his fist hit me, I decided to pull a trick I called Jade Skeleton. My entire body hit the wall as I forced all but my skeleton and some sections of my emerald flesh to turn to dust. The entire classroom was silent. It stayed that way until I decided to strike. After picking myself off the floor as a skeleton, I slowly walked over to Rocks for Brains, my jaw hanging open, one leg somewhat dragging, and both arms out straight. This made the entire classroom scream, including RFB. The coward literally fell backwards and was trying to crawl away screaming that he was sorry and he didn't mean to kill me. After he crawled into a corner, I grabbed and lifted him. That's when he asked for mercy, the one line I wanted to hear. Sorry, all out of mercy. I pretended to get ready to punch him, but instead I drop him and reform my body, glad my clothes weren't ruined by his punch. Once I was fully reformed, I went to my seat laughing. Seriously, if knocking my head off my body doesn't kill me at 4, I'm much harder to kill now. Kaken shook his head. Izuku, that joke went too far. Even I thought you were dead, and Puppeteer in the corner was moving you. With that, the bell rang, and we all left to go home. I decided to run by the jeweler to get another haircut, so I took a longer way home, which would bring me by him. Along the way there, I went under a bridge and nearly got knocked over by a manhole cover tossed by a massive slime. Perfect a bodysuit to hide in, the slime creature said before charging at me. When he touched me, I quickly coated him with emeralds. Great, I have to add 2 more emerald marbles to my collection. What's with people wanting to kill me today? Aside, I pull my phone from my backpack, go call the police. When I find a number for the police, All Might pops out of the sewer. Thank you for catching this guy. Why do these emeralds look so familiar? All Might said as he looked the caught sludge over. I laughed. Hey, All Might, you still have my arm in your trophy case. When I asked him that, he walked over and hugged me. Young Midoriya, how long has it been since I last saw you? You've grown up like a weed. I returned the hug. 2 years and 52 marbles ago. What do you mean by 52 marbles? All Might asked as I called the police and had them on their way. I actually started a tally system for how many times I've been kidnapped, mugged, held hostage, and when they try to kill me. I got 2 more marbles today from a classmate and this sewer dweller. I explained as I leaned against the bejeweled sludge. By the time the police arrived, All Might left to avoid the cameras of press. The sludge changed back, go his human form, and I was playing Bloons Tower Defense 30 on my phone. After the guy was detained, I got my hair cut, some Pocky, a case of my favorite soda, a case of my mom's favorite, and a new cast iron skillet for Mom, since she accidentally broke hers last time I was in trouble. Apparently back before Quirks, some moms would wait for their kids to get home late and threaten them with paddles or pans until they told the truth as to why they were late. Now it's not as common, but because of how often I get in trouble, whenever Mom and I go out, she carries the skillet in her purse to beat up the bad guys, and me if it's my fault. She actually has a fan group, calling her Skillet Mama, the cast iron protector. After about the 50th kidnapping, she got an honorary hero's license, just so she can use her quirk in public, which has grown much stronger since then. Mom, I'm home with gifts. I yelled as I closed the front door of our much bigger house. With how much money I make with just the haircuts and nail clippings alone, we could afford a fully staffed mansion, but we agreed that's too much, so we live in a 2-story house. I see you were on the TV again. What did you do to provoke the sludge? Mom asked as she put my gift away. He was running from All Might, and he wanted to use me as a bodysuit. Also, the cast iron pan has an emerald core to hopefully make it last longer. I said as I ate my Pocky. Izuku, if I didn't know better, I'd say you look for trouble, but I know it's the opposite. Mom sighed as she put the cast iron pan into her going-out purse. How much can you move with your mind now, Mom? I asked as I started to make us both supper. About 6 tons now, and I can send away now, too. No more headaches from using it too much either. That reminds me, this was in the mail. Mom replied as a letter floated in front of me. I laugh. Put it on my bed, please, Mommy, show off. She laughed as she put it there. I have to be to keep up with Sir Emerald. After we cleaned up from supper, I went to my room, adding 2 marbles to attempted murder, and opened the letter. It was from Principal Nizu from UA, which surprised me. Dear Midoriya Izuku, I've been watching you since you beat death at 4 and created Emerald HND that even All Might couldn't break. Because of your various exploits over the past 4 years, ranging from ending hostage situations, helping the poor, and catching your own kidnappers, I am giving you the first ever instant acceptance. No need for recommendations or going through the test. You are now officially in class 1 when school starts. Now, before you get mad, you can have fun and go through the tests anyways. I can't wait to see you in 10 months. Sincerely, Principal Nizu. I read it about 10 times before I rushed down and told my mom. When she read it, she cried and hugged me. Honestly, if I still needed to breath, I would have been dead by the time she was done. Mom, you're breaking my skin. She let me go and apologized right as there was a knock on the door. I answered it and looked the guy over. All Might, are you okay? You look like a skeleton. I know, 'cause I was one earlier. Young Midoriya, how did you know it was me? All Might asked while holding my arm that was in a block of resin. I let him in as I answered. Same hair, just droopier, same eyes, and same way of talking. Also, you're holding my arm. He chuckled and rubbed the back of his head. Good point. Is your mom home? I would like to talk to both of you. I lead him to the living room and put the resin-covered arm on the couch next to him. Mrs. Midoriya and young Midoriya, I would like to give my recommendation to get into UATU. Young Midoriya. I processed what he said, then showed him the letter. I'm honored, but Principal Nizu beat you to it. I'm going to be in 1A. He read it and laughed. I guess when I talked to him 10 years ago, you stuck out to him. Well, since that is done, the other reason I am here. Young Midoriya, I want you to be the next symbol of peace and my successor. He then told us about the history of his quirk. I accepted his quirk, and the next day, we started my training. What he thought would take 10 months actually only took a week and 3 days. It would have been quicker if I knew I could make clones of myself. After a week of cleaning, I got mad that I wasn't making much progress. This is taking forever. If there was more of me, this wouldn't take so long. With those words barely out of my lips, I began trying to make duplicates of myself. After 2 days of trying, I made myself an army. 200 of each of the materials I was made of. Emeralds were on crushing duty, jade was on burning duty and moving the ashes into bags. Green diamonds then made the ashes into more diamonds to sell later, and green gold moved the crushed metals over to the nearby scrapyard. By the time we were done, the crushers and the diamond makers were buff as hell compared to me. I absorbed them once the beach was cleaned and yelled in what I could only describe as a paper cut I got when I was 3 multiplied by a forest worth of paper and coated with lemon juice. After about 10 minutes, it ended, and my jeans and t-shirt I came out and were shredded from the muscles I just developed. Well, honestly, I just got stronger looking, and I could use more strength than before. All my idea worked too well. Can you run to the nearby store and give me a new outfit, maybe 2 sizes up? I asked while I wrapped myself up in the beach blanket we used for lunch. He ran off with the money I got from scrap and jewels while I shivered in the blanket. When he came back, I walked over to a nearby beach shower so I could change. Once out, All Might chuckled. Maybe 2 more sizes. They look like skinny jeans and a muscle shirt on you. I nodded and, using my new muscles, lifted up All Might in his muscle form with one hand. After joking a bit, All Might gave me some of his hair to eat, saying it's how I will get his quirk. I ate it, and when it was digested, I could use it at 100% easily, without any damage. We then spent the next 2 months and 2 weeks to get me really good at regulating how much I use. As a joke, I used 10% and flicked my fingers at the ocean. What I didn't expect is that the flick parted the ocean up to about 15 meters into the ocean for a few seconds. When All Might saw that, he asked me to form a focusing band around my hands to focus what he called air flicks from wide range to a focused air bullet. I did so, causing the ocean to stay parted longer and deeper to the point that I couldn't see the end of it. He congratulated me and said I can rest until the school year starts. When I told him I was going to do the test anyways, he patted me on the back and said, "Go on ahead, just don't use one for all unless really needed, okay?" I agreed, and him, my mom, and I went out for Katsudan for supper. I wonder what the entrance exam will be like. Izuku POV, it's been a couple of weeks since I got One for All. Since that day, I've gotten a lot more attention from muscle builders, girls, and some pro heroes. Midnight, the R-rated superhero, asked me out on a date, but when I told her I was in high school, she blushed and apologized. I honestly was flattered, and I did get her autograph, along with her number saying call her when I graduate. All Might and my mom teased me about it after I told them. Today I was planning on going to the mall to grab some new clothes, as I just got another haircut and had the money. After grabbing a month's worth of new clothes, I checked out the nearby Hero Memorabilia store. I bought a Gran Torino, another All Might, and a Midnight action figures. The store owner was nice until he looked up at me. Apparently someone recorded Midnight asking me out and put on HeroTube. He wasn't happy I turned down Midnight until I showed him my ID, proving my age, since that bit of me explaining my age was removed from video. He apologized and gave me a free present Mike action figure. I thanked him and left happy with my haul of stuff. Once I left the mall, I was stopped by a small group of muscleheads. The leader was wearing a Midnight shirt, so I knew what was going to happen. "Are you Izuku Midoriya?" the idiot asked. I simply nodded. If this about me rejecting Midnight, it's because it's illegal for adults to date kids under 18. The guy chuckled and walked over grabbing my hair. This idiot started to drag me to an alleyway by my hair. I let him get the bee down over. "Dude, if you want to fight, you just had to ask," I say as I stop letting him drag me. He tries to make me move for a bit, then growls. "Guys, knock him out. The hand wearer just wants him alive." That's when I felt bats, chains, and knives hit me. Of course, they all bent or broke. "Wow, you are a group of blockheads. I can't believe you're using iron and steel against a living emerald." I shook my head and, using my speed boost from One for All, knocked them all out. I then bound them all together with emeralds before I pull out my phone calling the cops. This happened so often I got a direct line to the SWAT units. As I waited, Kimmy Woods and Death Arms walked by on patrol. They saw me and tried to attack me. I blocked them with a wall of jade. "Whoa, calm down, heroes. They attacked me. I just called the police, and they will be here soon." Camus didn't listen. "Let those people go, villain, or else. My name is Izuku Midoriya. These people attack me to take me to some guy who wears hands. If you'd wait for the police, they'll help clear up this confusion." I yelled through the jade wall before Kimui used his wood-based Quirk to bust through it and catch me in some odd wooden cage. Instead of fighting, I just sat down and sighed. I swear every time there's a new hero, they are always quick to attack. After a couple of minutes, the police come along with a person friend of mine, Detective Tsukachi. He just laughed as he saw me in Kimui's cage. "This is what the 23rd time you've been wrongly detained by heroes." I sighed. "You've lost count a long time ago. This time is 340th time, not including Endeavor's streak of trying to burn me." Kimui let me go, and I helped the officers handcuff and transfer the attempted kidnappers. Kimui didn't apologize. Instead, him and Death Arms just left with grumbling from the wooden JRK. After catching up with the detective, I left to go home with my stuff. Mom was at the door when I got there. I couldn't even say hi before I felt the cat iron pan I had made for her hit me. "Why did you fight a hero?" Mom basically screamed at me. "The news. Lies, Mom, and you know it when it comes to me. The thugs behind me tried to kidnap me." Kimui jumped to conclusions. "Oh, and Detective Tsukachi says hi." I reply as I rub where she hit me. Mom, of course, apologized and found some liquid porcelain stuff to fix the cracks in my skin from the pan. We ate supper a bit later, and I decided to go out for a jog. After an hour of jogging, a girl stopped me. Her hair was in two messy blonde buns. She was in a school uniform I didn't recognize, and she had fangs. "Hey there, big boy, what's the rush?" "I'm Toga, what's your name?" she asked as she kept her hands behind her back. "I am sorry, Toga, but I must be heading home. I have training tomorrow," I replied as I walked by her. As I got just beyond her, I felt a knife hit my back where my heart would be if I had one and heard what sounded like a dull piano note. I turned to look at her and nearly burst out laughing at how confused she looked as she studied her now bent knife. "Toga, either you sit down willingly and wait for the cops, or I force you to." "Your choice," I said softly. She promptly sat on a nearby bench and looked up at me as I called the cops. As we waited, she asked, "What was that note earlier, and why does my knife look like it hit a brick wall?" I chuckled. "I'm guessing we're the same age, so you should have heard of the Emerald Child." When she nodded, she then realized why I asked that. You're that kid. I thought it was just a rumor. I laughed and shook my head. Nope, quite real. Now I'm guessing you're a runaway with a vampire quirk. I'm going to have you sent to a special institution for people who've gone crazy because of their quirk. Hopefully after you've been treated, you can be a hero too. Not too much longer after that, the police took her, and I started heading home. I formed a green gold pipe and started hitting different parts of my body, causing different piano notes, and a badly aimed swing caused me to fall over. Note to self, form a cup next time I attempt to be a piano. Why is it that there has pain when the rest of my body doesn't? Once I got home, I sewed the hole in my shirt shut and let my porcelain skin naturally heal the tiny bit that was left. The next morning, I answered the door as someone was ringing the doorbell like crazy. Can I help you? I asked a bit sharply since it was 7 a.m. I looked over what looked like a purple gas cloud with 2 yellow sections for eyes for a few seconds before he spoke. I am Kirojiri, and I have a message from your father. I groaned. Tell Dad, I'm not falling for it. You know how often people claim that. Have a good day, but go. I slammed the door and went to sit on the couch, only for Kirojiri to be sitting on it already. Izuku Midoriya, may I at least give you the message? I made myself a drink. Fine, just make it quick. I want you gone before Mom wakes up. I pointed to the hanging cast iron skillet, and he nodded. Your dad, Hisashi Midoriya, wants to see you again. He left a bit before your quirk formed, and he is sorry that he was away for so long. To make up for it, he wants to give you a family heirloom before he dies and return your other quirk. I dropped my cup at the last bit. Instead of my cup breaking, Kirojiri caught it through a portal and put it down in front of me. He expected your reaction to be like that. So do you want to meet him again? You might want to get Inko up to see her husband again. Ever heard the phrase, speak of the devil, and he will appear? Well, my mom then entered the room having heard all of it. I know it's most likely not Hisashi, but if it is him, I'd love to see him again. Kirojiri then created a portal nearby, and out came a guy with no face above his mouth. He had tubes all over his throat and neck as if to keep him alive. Inko Izuku. I'm finally home again. He started to cough up some BLD as he sat down on a nearby chair. I'm sorry, it's not under better circumstances, my 2 emeralds. Izuku, I know you want proof that I am your father. As he said that, he pulled out a drawing I made when I was 4. It was the 3 of us in the City of Oz from the old movie. Mom, and I instantly hugged him, and he chuckles before coughing again. Now I don't have much time left, so let's get this done, he said as he gently pushed us away. First son, take this heirloom. It was my dad's, and since you're my son, it's my turn to pass it on. Kirojiri then pulled out a crystal skull and handed it to me. It is a prop from one of our favorite movies. I bet you can make a real one now, though. Now, son, it is time I gave you back your second quirk. It is a stronger version of my own. My quirk lets me take and give quirks, while yours could also copy and strengthen quirks. I will give it back and give you all the quirks I've taken over the years. I know you're a hero now, but I must warn you. Some quirks I have are very evil quirks. Honestly, no quirk, only its user can be evil. Kneel or sit next to me, son. I sat next to him in a chair, and he set his hand on my head. At first, I felt nothing. It wasn't until I saw that my eyes were like headlights did I realize something was happening. Once it was done, Dad coughed. I'm proud of you, son. I know you'll be a much bigger and better man than I was. When the police find me and tell everyone who I am, that my legacy as all for one doesn't ruin your chances at a perfect future. The news of you being a villain's son will cause you trouble, but please rise above it. Inko and my centuries of living you are the only person I loved. I'm sorry I couldn't risk the heroes finding you and our son. He hugged us, both then left through the portal with Kirojiri. I put the skull on my dresser and called All Might. He answered a bit groggily. Young Midoriya, is there something wrong? I steadied my nerves and shakily asked, remember that you told me about some guy called All for One? Well, I just meet him again. He was my father, and he's dying. All Might was silent for about 5 minutes before he hung up on me. 2 hours later, it was on the news about Dad's body being found in an old abandoned building. They also told the entire world that I was his son and that my mom was married to him. This started the months of hell that nearly killed my mom. Izuku POV. The news revealed who my dad was, and everyone, even Kaken, was treating us like the plague. Mom stayed at home as she was fired the second the news finished the report. In the next week or two, she was going to sue for wrongful termination, but the court keeps delaying it. First, it was to happen in the same month, and now it's set up to happen right when I go into UA. The jeweler I go to only lets me in at night, so his business won't go under because people claim my emeralds and such are cursed. It has been a week since the news, and I hear my phone go off. It's another unlisted number. Hello. The caller. Go jump off a roof, devil spawn. Click I am actually used to it because it happens often. Usually it's the house phone, not my cell. I barely put it down when All Might calls me. Hey, young Midoriya, we need to talk. Beach at midnight. Sure, I have nothing else to do with all the death threats I get. I sarcastically say before he hangs up. I get to the beach right before midnight using an odd teleporting quirk my father gave me. I sat in the shadows and waited for All Might to show up. When he does, instead of saying, "Hi, how are you holding up?" this pompous JRK slaps me. Why didn't you tell me that your dad was my rival? Why did you stay quiet as I told you what he has done to me? All Might yelled as he cried some. I didn't know he abandoned me and my mom right before I got my gym body. He came to apologize for ditching us and give me back a quirk he took from me. It was a better version of his quirk, I said as I rubbed my cheek. I felt guilty even talking to him. I nearly jumped off a roof before I remembered I can't die because of my second natural quirk. For 5 minutes, All Might was quiet. For 5 minutes, I waited, unable to cry to show how bad I felt. Give me back one for all. I was wrong to give it to you. After a minute of me looking dumbfounded, he repeated himself. Return my quirk now, or I will put you in Tartarus myself. I duplicated it and gave it back the original. There, take it. I have a copy of it anyways. Benefits of my quirk. I formed a crystal that looked as clear as a perfect pool of water. All Might, let's make a bet. This crystal has my better version of your quirk stored in it. Have Nizu set up a special test just for me. If I pass, I can use my version like I was going to use yours as a hero. If I fail, I'll destroy this crystal in front of you and do my best to be a hero anyways. Just because I am related to a villain doesn't mean that I am one. Before All Might could respond, I warp home and put all my stuff of All Might in a box, and then put the box in the attic with the label, Dream Wrecker. As the next few months happen, I train at multiple different ruin locations. First, compact the trash, burn what I can, sell the scrap metal, buy stuff to fix up the place, and make sure plenty of people see me and my gem mines working. At first, they threw trash and stuff at me, which I quickly used to make ash or scrap metal. When they saw me give the gems I create to orphanages or soup kitchens, they lessen up some, but not everyone thinks I'm a good person. Once I finished fixing up the second location, someone walked over with the cops claiming I robbed him. Some people were eager to agree with him until he said, I just mugged him 10 minutes ago. When he said that 4 people who were actually there the whole time, recording me, stood up for me. Recorder 1. That's impossible. He has been here for the past 6 hours. I have proof. I've been streaming him working online. The other 3 showed the cops their recordings, and the guy was fined for false claims. After that, a few other people just wanting me in jail tried to taunt me, threw rotten food at me, and threatened my mom's well-being. I never fought them or reacted. I only kept my training going. At 5 months till the entrance exam, I got a message from JRK Might. He wanted to meet up, but I ignored him. After a week of him just messaging me, he was at my current training area one morning. I asked him to get out of my way and started my training again. No matter what he tried to say or did to get my attention, I ignored him. Recorder 1, who I later learned was named Sam. Oi, Skeletor, leave him alone. He doesn't want to talk to you. Young Midoriya is a friend of mine, so please, but out of this. I stood up and looked at him. Friend. You dare call me that after you treated me like everyone else after they found out who my father was. Something I didn't know until a few minutes before it hit the DMN news. Don't you dare call yourself my friend ever again. Leave me alone, and make sure Nizu sets up the test, as our bet needs unless he is rescinding his offer of me joining UA. When he left, I sat down on the ground for a bit and did my equivalent of crying. Instead of regular tears, I cry aquamarine in the shape of tears, something I didn't expect, nor anyone watching me. When it was 4 months till my mom was attacked by a bunch of concerned citizens, I quickly ran to the hospital and found her waiting in the lobby with a knife still in her gut. Using a few quirks, I quickly healed her and got us both home. After that, I returned to the hospital and healed everyone inside to the best of my abilities. You people say you're here to heal people. I guess that means only if they aren't related to or are villains. Now, because of you all being hypocritical, I now have a new training regiment. Healing every single person I can to keep them out of this hypocritical hellhole you call a hospital. I yelled using a few voice modification quirks to make me much louder so everyone heard me. The next 2 months, my war against that hospital nearly bankrupted it and a few others around them. Soon the hospitals came together and actually hired goons to try to kill me. I ran into a public area with them chasing me. When one tried to stab me, I reacted by encasing him in emeralds to keep him in place. The other two tried to use their quirks on me with the same results. I then called the cops and told them to hurry because I barely had enough energy to encase them properly, and one was already cracking. It took them 3 hours to get to me, and during that long wait, I had to knock all 3 out twice to keep them from killing me. I made sure to keep the cuts instead of healing them and pointed out multiple buildings with cameras they could use to prove I am not in the wrong. Instead of listening, I was detained. When Detective Tsukachi questioned me, and the goons, those hospitals were closed forever, and I was released from captivity since the officers that arrived thought I was just staging something. I barely got out of my cell when a rookie cop kicked me back in and closed the cell. Needless to say, Detective Tsukachi tore him a new one, and the people at dispatch for not taking my call seriously and making me wait 3 hours where I could have been destroyed or kidnapped with no proof of where I was taken. I healed myself as I left and headed home. When I arrived late at my current project, which happened to be an old park, Sam questioned me. Yo, Midoriya, why are you late today, and may I record this, or is it too personal? I let him and told him what happened. DMN, that shows that a lot of stuff is rotten in the system, huh? I simply nodded and started cleaning up the place. Once I was done, I hired a company to put in new play equipment, paying them in cash 4 times than what it would normally cost. What I didn't know is that Sam recorded it and posted it online as Playground Builders overcharged Good Samaritan. About a week later, they tried to return the money they overcharged me, but I told them to use it to fix up old playgrounds or make a new one. Of course, Sam recorded it and posted it as well. At about 2 weeks left, another group of people attacked my mom. This time I saw it happen. I carried my mom on my back to a nearby hospital that knew not to cross me, and then the idiots to the police station by rolling them in a giant emerald hamster ball. Once there, I was very snarky. These idiots attacked my mom. Have fun breaking them out. Use the emeralds to fund your hypocritical police station. I left them there chipping away at the big ball. After that, I got the nickname Spite. In spite of everyone treating me like a villain, I was a good Samaritan that went way above what's needed. In spite of people trying to kill me, I never did more than knock them out. In spite of the entire world being against me, I still made it better. Kids loved the parks I had made, and when they saw me, they would thank me before their parents yanked them away from me. 3 days before the entrance exam, All Might talked my mom into letting him in the house. When I saw him, I tried to walk by him, but he stepped in front of the door. Get out of my way, JRK Might. I have nothing to say to you other than see you at the test. I said to him, my voice so full of venom, he even looked scared. Young Midoriya, I'm sorry for overreacting. You truly are worthy of being my successor. I want to give you permission to use my quirk and the copy you made. Please forgive me, an old fool stuck in the past. I thought for a second, then pulled out the crystal. He smiled, thinking I was about to forgive him. I broke the crystal in front of him and got in his face. I never want to ever have your hateful quirk again. I want nothing to do with you and the other hypocrites in this world. Now leave my home before you're missing your other lung. My eyes and venom-filled voice made him run out of my house as if I lit his butt on fire. On second thoughts, I kind of wish I had, but then again, I don't need to go to jail. A few hours after scaring JRK Might half to death, and I've been working my latest project, Endeavor showed up. Without even trying to talk to me, he attacked me. I simply avoided his flame-covered attacks and looked at him. I have done nothing wrong. Why are you attacking me? No answer. Only more punching and some added kicking. This kept up a while as Sam called the cops. They arrived and took me to jail for no reason. When I am questioned by people with a lie detection quirk, I was not at fault for Endeavor attacking me. When he was questioned, 3 days later, he admitted he only wanted to put me in jail, so I couldn't apply to UA. They let me go and made him pay a fine. Then, that flaming pile of trash made the news lie about him arresting me only for me to get out due to some stupid technicalities. Now I was furious. I called all of the news channels to meet me at one of my projects. When they all arrived, I did an announcement. I'm ashamed of what this world is like. You treat me as if I am my biological father who left me before I could really form memories of him. I am attacked by concerned citizens, and the exact same people then try to kill my mom. Instead of finding her in an ER being treated, I find her in the lobby. Luckily for me, my father returned my second biological quirk. That's right, I was born with 2 quirks. I am a living emerald able to copy quirks permanently and enhance them. I was able to save my mom and everyone else in the hospital except for those beyond my abilities. Then, as I try to enhance our town by fixing up trashed lots, what happens? I take a quick breath and a drink before continuing. I get trash and rotten food thrown at me. After that, I get overcharged to get each lot turned into a playground. Then, 4 days ago, Endeavor attacked me for no reason. He only attacked me because he didn't want me to apply to UA. It's hypocrites and people who are heroes just for fame and money that are making this world horrible. If you want proof of Endeavor's stupid reason, watch this. I motion for Sam to start the projector and speakers where Endeavor literally admits why he attacked me. After hearing and seeing it, the entire group of people there gasped. Now, that is not the kind of hero we want in this world. I swear once I become a pro hero, no matter which school I go to, is to get rid of all heroes like this. This is an unfortunate truth of the world, and I will change it as a pro hero. I answered a few questions, and someone mentioned All Might. I'd rather not talk about one of the biggest hypocrites in our society. He trained me for 1 month, only to abandon me once the news broke of my father. He is no better than Endeavor. With that, I ended the press conference and went home. My mom wasn't happy when she saw the conference, but was proud of me standing up for myself. We went out for Katsudan with everyone giving us wide berth. We ate dinner and went home. We got a flood of the usual hate calls, plus a few people claiming that I'm a bold-faced liar. The next day, All Might admitted to training me until he found out I was related to his main enemy. He claimed to be sorry, but I turned off the TV anyways. I was sick of hearing his lies. Can't wait to prove him wrong for taking back his quirk and losing the best choice for the next holder. I'm glad I erased the small power boost I had gotten from it before I returned it. That quirk isn't worth holding my quirks and personality. Izuku POV, I have been waiting for this day. The day I make All Might eat his words. For this reason, I arrived early at UA and set up what I call Quirk Walk. It's a very thin layer of green diamond, and everyone who steps on it gets their quirk copied and added to my collection. Thanks to some odd reason, both regular applicants and those who are recommendations are both testing the same day. I came so early, I even have the teacher's quirks. Present mic and some talking to animals quirks Ombin will be very useful in a forest. Once everyone else was in, I joined them, quickly absorbing the QW. I aced the written test and turned it in, heading to the auditorium with the other regular applicants. Once everyone who passed came to the auditorium, Present Mike started his stupid speech explaining the test. Right when he finished saying 3 bots are worth points, some idiot interrupted. "Excuse me, sir. The pamphlet everyone was given says there are 4 bots, not 3. Either the pamphlet is wrong or you are." Now boy in the back in the black outfit, quit standing around and acting like a creep. You scared plenty of people away from testing today. I couldn't help but laugh a bit, then remove my black hood. If I scare them, then they're not worthy of coming here, and I am not sitting because I will not sully UA's precious seats with my villain DNA. I said using Present Mike's quirk. Now I know for certain there's 4 bot types, but I bet it's worthless point-wise. Now how about you shut up and let the energetic cockatoo finish speaking? When I finished speaking, people got over the shock of me being there and did one of 2 things: attack me or run to the other side of the room. Needless to say, I quickly put them all back into their seats using my emeralds. I sigh. Trust me, if I was a villain, I would have killed you all before you got to this room. Now sit down and listen to him. Present Mike was shocked. I used his quirk, but quickly continued. As he stated, the 4th bot is a 0 pointer and more of an obstacle. Avoid at all costs. Now, Midoriya, how are you positive there were 4 types? I laughed a bit. You're using my hair in their circuitry. In the months after All Might dropped me like a rotten potato, I've learned much more about my quirks. This stunned the entire group of people here and made a nearby door suddenly slam open. It was, of course, All Might. There you are, young Midoriya. Principal Nizu was looking for you, he said with a smile. I growled. You will call me Mr. Midoriya. You lost the privilege to call me young Midoriya. The room gasped, and JRK Might nodded, leading me to Principal Nizu. I entered the room and looked at the odd small rodent quickly sending a very thin, invisible strand of hair out to duplicate his quirk since I didn't have it. Oh, you must be Izuku Midoriya. I'm Principal Nizu, and I set up your test. You must destroy all the bots in Saitama in 2 minutes. I look at the campus map on the wall to locate Saitama, and then chuckle. Done. All are now worthless. Nizu and JRK Might checked, and what I said was true. All the bots were shredded from the inside out. Then strands of my hair come through the wall, avoiding wiring and pipes. It then became a chair behind me that I sit on. Needless to say, both had their jaws hanging. Wait, the diamond strands we were using were your hair. I nodded and smirked as I watched fear cover JRK Might's face. Nizu was the first to collect himself. You copied a lot of quirks, didn't you? All Might told me that your second quirk is to copy and enhance them. I simply nodded and glared at JRK Might. I can also downgrade them. I removed my quirk and mental copy from it before I returned it. When he asked me to forgive him, I destroyed the changed version in front of him. Mr. Midoriya, I really am sorry. I All Might started to say. Shut it, JRK Might. I don't want or need your pathetic quirk. I will be a hero without it, and I will keep your successor as number 2 as I take the top. I snapped at him, causing him to flinch. I sigh and absorb my chair. If you accept me, I will be civil to him, but never friendly. Maybe one day I may forgive him, but not soon. After bowing to Nizu and glaring at JRK, Might I leave the room? I watched the others do their simple test, chuckling at how much some are struggling. I'm about to leave when I hear a girl yell for help. Without thinking, I jump down to her from my floating emerald and quickly get her out from under the concrete rubble on her. As I turn to face the 0-pointer, I have a Jade clone move her to safety before I make my hands bigger than the stupid bot and crush it along with the buildings close to it. Once it was a compressed ball the size of a meatball, I eat it, then walk over to the girl, absorbing my clone as I get close. I heal her wounds, then everyone else's before I walk out. The walk home was boring as no one even bothered to mess with me. I kind of missed the fights and the kidnappings. The human interaction of it is what I crave. Heck, even a person booing me would be nice. Once I was home, I showered, drank some soda, and waited for Mom. Hopefully the places Mom visits will hire her. She could use a job. All Might POV. It's been a little bit since Izuku left the office and saved the young girl. What did you do, All Might? That kid looks like he wants you dead. I flinch when Nizu says that. He was to be Mu's successor until I found out who his dad was. I panicked and made him return the quirk, even though he used 100% without any problem. Nizu glares, then hits me upside the head. You numbskull. You could have made him like his father by doing that. He is already partly on that path. He formed a very thin layer of what I'm guessing is his green diamond hair over the walkway and probably used it to copy quirks. He probably copied mine when he came in here. Now if he ever goes evil, we can't stop him. I know I'm a fool. Hopefully I can make it up to him and return this quirk to him. It hasn't felt like mine since he returned it. I sigh. I really hope that he forgives me sooner than later. Nizu shook his head. I currently see it as later. You really crushed him. He saw you as his idol over 10 years ago. The worst person to crush a dream is someone you look up to. Izuku POV. I was personally called by Principal Nizu the next day. Of course I was put in a 1, but I know he just put me there so I wouldn't be a villain. After grabbing the school supplies I would need, I just waited the weeks until class. My mom was proud of me, but for some reason it felt hollow. I was doing what I have dreamed of for years, but it left a bitter taste in my mouth. That was when I realized I'm doing this out of spite, and the only way I will enjoy this is if I let it go. That's when I thought up something. Mom, I have a mean idea. I want to pull on UA for a while. I'm going to be very sharp and cold with All Might and Kakin, but nice to everyone else for a while. My mom thought for a bit, while I had Mitsuki reduce Katsuki's allowance a ton and ground him, but sure, go ahead. They deserve it. I smile and go to bed, ready to put on the best performance ever. This will be a fun month or two. The first day came, and I just warped into the classroom and sat at a seat in the back of the room and near the windows. I just sat there and looked out the window as the entire class slowly walked in. Their shocked gasps, soft whispering, and choosing seats furthest away from me was funny to hear. Then came in Kakin. He walked over to me, and I glared at him. "Don't bug me, Katsuki. I don't want to hear it. Just get your seat and shut up." I snapped at him while still looking out the window. Of course, he went to his seat, and more of the class filed in. Then I saw Interrupter walk in. He robotically walks over to me. "What are you doing here, villain?" Kakin quickly walked over and pulled him away. Izuku is not a villain. Just because his father was doesn't mean he is one. The blue-haired boy yanked out of Kakin's grasp and marched right back over. "I, Tenya Ida, will not let a villain be in my class." This idiot grabbed me by my arm and yanked. I let that arm pop off, and I yelled in pain. "What the F is your mental deficiency? I am not a villain, and it still hurts when I lose a limb." I slowly regrow a new arm. I start off with the jade bones, then my green gold veins, my flesh then formed slowly muscle by muscle. When my porcelain skin finally formed, a bunch of my classmates were sickly green. Sorry about that. I usually heal much faster. Haven't really ate properly with everyone trying to put me in jail for no reason. I move my arm around before grabbing the removed arm and take the sleeve from it using my hair to sew it back on. I relax once it's on. Look, Ito was it. I want to be a hero, and I want people that are just in it for fame to leave. That was why I was due evil acting in the auditorium. Ida stiffened and went to his seat. That's when the girl I saved walked over. "You're the boy who saved and healed me during the test. I'm Ochako Uraraka. Thank you so much for saving me. You left so suddenly, I wasn't able to thank you till now." The others in the class were shocked. I then looked at a sleeping bag on the floor. "Hello, Mr. Aizawa. You need to get the sleeping bags with legs if you want to be in one and move," I say with a chuckle, causing him to stand straight up. Does such a thing really exist? This made many girls scream, thinking it was a giant bug. I know someone here has a creation quirk. I copied it as you entered the school to do the entrance exam. A long black-haired girl stands up. "My name is Momo, and you copied my quirk." I walked over and touched her shoulder. Wasn't sure if it was you or dual chromatic hair. "I just boosted it for you. Now you don't need your skin to be exposed to create stuff, and it's now a mix of your body fats and energy in the air to make stuff. Can you make a sleeping bag with legs for Mr. Aizawa, please? I'm still memorizing atomic structures and how they all work together." She nodded and was happy as she formed it without removing her clothes. When she gave it to Aizawa, he instantly put it on and moonwalked a tiny bit. "Thank you both now, all the sports field," Aizawa said as he tossed everyone gym uniforms and kind of skipped out of the classroom. I took mine and walked to the locker room. Once we were all there, Aizawa looked at me. "How many can you boost at a time and how long?" I pretend to think it's a permanent boost, but my limit is 20 per month. I quickly boost Aizawa's and tell him when he blocks a quirk, he doesn't need to look at them anymore. It'll stay blocked for a day unless he undoes it. I would boost more, but not every classmate will get a boost, and I know some don't trust me. With that, Uraraka walked up and volunteered to be boosted. Her gravity quirk now doesn't make her nauseous, and she can increase something's gravity. After that, I boosted everyone's quirk except Kakin and Mineta. They all did their tests with their boosted quirks. After a bit, I made my leg ding, getting everyone's attention. "Mineta, come here, please." When he hesitantly walked over, I boosted his quirk. Now his grape-shaped glue orbs can shape-shift into basic items like swords and daggers. "Sorry, Katsuki, I won't have another booster point for a while. I hope your ego doesn't make you crazy as you wait." After a few hours of trying out their boosts and a few hitting Mineta, unfortunately, he is a pervert. We all change, shower, and go eat lunch. Everyone is much more relaxed around me. I'm nice and polite with everyone except Kakin, and when someone mentions All Might, I stiffen, forming jade spikes. After a few seconds, I'd retract the spikes and apologize. After lunch, we all did our boring normal classes. I just teleported home after class. I walked into the living room after changing into some shorts and a t-shirt. I boosted everyone in my class's quirks except for Katchin's. He looked really mad. My mom laughed softly and shook her head. Don't tease him too bad. He does deserve it, but still. I nodded and relaxed to watch TV. Izuku POV. I wake up and take a shower to clean off my porcelain skin. Once I was dry and in today's uniform, I head downstairs for breakfast. I eat my breakfast and begin to cough. I cough for a couple of minutes before I spit up a giant lump of emerald equal to my breakfast in size. My mom looks worried until I chip off a bit of my arm equal to about half a piece of bacon, which quickly heals. I eat the bacon only to cough up a piece of emerald about half a piece of bacon. That is very new. I'm guessing that I can only eat so much as backup matter before I don't need to eat anymore. So as long as I'm not hurt, I can't eat, nor do I need to. Well, at least our jeweler can use the results of my Midas touch. We laugh at my joke as I kiss my mom on the cheek and left for school. On the way there, I gave some kid money for a quick breakfast at a local fast food place. He was just short of it, but I paid and gave him extra. Once I got to school, I got into my seat and messed with a small chunk of jade as I got lost in thought. I couldn't eat lunch without coughing up emeralds or maybe some jade, but I didn't want to offend Lunch Rush, our food-based hero that runs the cafeteria. I was distracted until Momo tapped me on the shoulder. Oh, sorry, I was lost in thought. Did you say something? I rubbed the back of my head, embarrassed. Momo giggled. It's fine, but you were muttering out loud and scaring everyone. What's this about offending Lunch Rush? I sighed. A new aspect of my quirk showed up. I apparently don't need to eat, but if I get hurt, it helps to eat to replace future damage. I coughed up my breakfast until I damaged my arm a tiny bit. If I eat, I cough up emeralds, upsetting everyone's stomach, or I don't eat and offend Lunch Rush. Momo's eyes went wide for a minute before chuckling. Maybe make the food into emeralds and give it to him as a trophy. We all sat down and waited for our teacher for this morning to show up. That's when the door opened and I heard All Might's voice. I'm here, entering like a normal person. The class was happy, and I grew jade spikes and turned my nails into daggers as I growled. Needless to say, everyone was stunned, and All Might fell backwards back out into the hallway. I couldn't help but fall onto my own rear laughing. The entire class was confused until I walked over to Kakin and boosted him, retracted my nails and spikes, and helped All Might up. That was for ditching me. Be glad I am easy to forgive and forget, but next time it won't be as easy. Same goes for you, Kakin. I will de-boost your quirk. I go back to my seat and smile. All Might coughed. I'm glad you've forgiven me, Mr. Midoriya. Now everyone today, you're all doing battle training at Saitama. This will be random teams, one acting as heroes and the other as villains. The heroes will be trying to catch the villains, or the weapons, as the villains have to stop the heroes for 15 minutes or catch the heroes. Now heroes need costumes. You press a button on something, and a bunch of cases with desk numbers show up. We all grab our cases and go change. I didn't have a case since I never submitted a costume design. Instead, I broke my porcelain skin and became an emerald-based X-ray man. I made sure to hide my junk just in case my gym outfit get ripped. We all meet in front of All Might, where he announces the teams. I ended up with Momo, and we're against Bakugo and Ida. You can already guess what team I'm on. I put the weapon in the middle of the building and encase it with emeralds. I then looked at Momo. I have a plan, but it'll be a bit risky. You set up tripwire and such on the floor below and the floor above, with them getting much more common in different corners. I will taunt the living bomb. She nodded and got to work as Ida and Kakin argued about a plan. I could hear them thanks to a quirk Dad stole then gave to me. I set up some gem-ions on the top and bottom floor before I walk onto the roof and yell down, "Be glad I boosted you. Now you might be at least an entertaining opponent. Actually, Ida, how about you meet me up here? Your boosted engines can easily get you up here." I laughed maniacally, and thanks to some villain movies I watched, it scared everyone. Actually, just give up, you two. Neither of you will ever beat me. I quickly ran down and gave Momo some useful quirks. The simple list is speed, strength, erasure, and a cloning quirk. We split up as I heard explosions heading up to the roof. Have fun, Momo. Also, if you want to keep them, tell me. Once I got to the roof, I'm immediately laughing my butt off. Bakugo was busy removing his ruined boots as they were melted, exploded, and on fire from the boost I gave him. The boost just added his explosive sweat to his feet, but the results were funny. Of course this made Kakin mad, so he launched himself at me. Wrong move, Kakin. Wrong move. I roll out of the way, and two Gemions grab Kakin before fusing together, becoming a case around him from the neck down. Don't try exploding it. You might kill yourself, because even All Might can't break my emeralds. Have a good time waiting, you nuclear Pomeranian. I rushed downstairs to where the weapon was, only to just catch the tail end of the fight. What I saw was Ida suddenly being lifted to the ceiling in a net and held up by 4 Momos. We got called the winners, and I undo my Gemions and take the quirks from Momo since she didn't want them. I then turned around only for Bakugo to pull the pin on both of his gauntlets. Ida sped Momo out of the way as they basically see my body completely destroyed in front of them. All Might came running and watches as one of my shards, which I quickly tossed to the side out of instinct, form into my body with a green, gold, and jade version of a gym outfit forming over my body before my more private bit form. Diamin Kakin, I may be immortal, but that hurt like hell. I was taunting you to make you lose your common sense and attack blindly. I popped my shoulders and moved to the door shakily. I must thank you, though Lunch Rush may get mad. You've damaged me so much I'm starving. All Might excuse Momo, Ida, and I'd a lunch early with a note to give to Lunch Rush. Momo, Ida, and even Lunch Rush was surprised with how much I was eating. Even though it was basically just after breakfast, I was still eating when lunchtime started. When everyone got to our table, Kakin sat next to me. That blast was for calling me a Pomeranian. You know I hate dogs. I shrugged and kept eating until I burped up a chunk of emerald. I sighed and relaxed, finally full. Guys, he's been eating non-stop for hours. Even Lunch Rush was worried and was cooking triple time to make sure there was enough for everyone. Everyone looked at Ida, confused, then at me, as I handed Lunch Rush the emerald. After I apologized to Lunch Rush for my eating frenzy, I returned to my table. We all chatted and joked as Kakin and I caught up some. We even got on the phone with my mom, who was with Annie Mitsuki. Everything was now back to how it was, but everyone knew not to make me a villain. Izuku POV, it's been roughly a week since I was nearly killed by Kakin. Since that day, I was more cautious when outside, not wanting to find out my limits of immortality. This morning was one I never thought I would see. Outside my home was a group of people calling me a villain as they held up anti-villain signs with my face, all for one, my mom's, and other known villains' faces. I had barely stuck my foot out the door before tomatoes, rocks, an eggplant, and lots of eggs. Normally I would just close the door, but I wanted to mess with them. I moved quickly, eating each item thrown at me. The crowd stopped chucking stuff after they noticed I wasn't running. I let out a small burp, closed the door, and started to walk to the mall. After I get to the corner, I turn around and look at them. Thanks for breakfast, but I'm not a villain and neither is my mom. Have a good day. I continued on my way, not caring if they follow me or not. Of course they followed, calling me many names. Most I heard before, with Quirkware and Heartless BSDRD being the only new ones. I remember an old video on an ancient website called YouTube. With a smirk, I turned around and looked at them in fake pain. Ouch! Oh, such an insult. How about you come back at me with some original ones, you poorly packaged sacks of horse SHD. Tell your significant others I said hi, Snookums. I blew a kiss and kept walking. Some old men on a nearby park bench started laughing. I see you like the older videos. You'll find better insults if you dig enough. One yelled as he nearly hit the ground laughing. I waved and kept walking as I entered the mall to get what was needed and extra. There was a store that sold stuff from TV like non-stick pans, some odd light-up slippers, wall-riding RC cars, and super sharp knives. I entered it, and before I could even look around, I got hit by Endeavor's fire. Yo, hothead, you need to stop attacking me when I'm simply shopping. You know I'm not a villain. He just threw another fireball, which I ate, as if it was a spicy meatball. He kept it up as I had Gemions get people away as I slowly lead him out into the street, where he will do less damage to property. After some time of eating his stupid fireball and forming jade chainmail armor to prevent NDTY, the police arrived and pointed their guns at me. Here we go again. I sigh as I recall my Gemayans and lay on the ground with my hands behind my back. Hothead used this as an opportunity to try to melt me into a puddle only to find me unharmed and covered in more jade armor. Will you stop that? That is the second outfit you ruined of mine. I yelled at him while cops handcuffed me and put me in the back of their car. I chuckled as Endeavor was also arrested and put into a fireproof car. Both of us were taken to the jail, where after a few questions showed that Endeavor just wanted to get me expelled since he believed that I wasn't worthy of UA and that villain spawn should be locked up before they can cause trouble. I went back to the mall, where the owner themselves gave me a bunch of stuff for free as thanks for saving his business from the fiery wrecking ball. Once I was done and had thanked them, I headed home. As I entered the door, the news made a major announcement, which made me and my mom laugh. Number 2 hero Endeavor is under investigation for multiple reasons. He has been caught twice attacking Izuku Midoriya, son of All for One, for no reason, with the second time having just happened today at the mall. Instead of fighting back, Izuku protected the businesses and civilians from getting hurt as Endeavor shot fireball after fireball. In the end, Izuku laid down in the middle of the road, only for the number 2 hero to try to melt him. Police are now investigating every single one of his arrests, complaints placed against him, and making him pay Izuku and any others he has tormented for psychological torment he has caused. His license is officially suspended for the next 2 years, and it is highly likely that it'll be revoked. My phone then began to ring off the hook. The first few were the usual insults, which I now had recorded with their phone numbers. There was jump off the roof, demon spawn, quit lying about Endeavor, and some death threats. Then a new call came through which I didn't expect. It was an anonymous caller giving me thanks that Endeavor's horrible parenting will finally be revealed and ended. I couldn't get his name before he hung up, but I still sent all the calls and the data collected from them to the cops. The next day, I went to school and apologized to Shoto Todoroki about having his dad arrested. What surprised me is that he actually smiled. I hope that horrible father loses his license and is imprisoned so I no longer have to deal with him. He drove my mom crazy, treated me and my siblings like trash, and got away with it. I nodded and gave him a bit jade. How about you keep this as a reminder of his, but going to jail? Shoto nodded and thanked me as I walked back to my seat before our hero name selection class started. I was asked last, and I chose the perfect one, Spite the Green Mineral Hero. Everyone loved it, and I got another date invite from Midnight in my pocket. Looks like I will eventually have to accept it, or she will never give up. Izuku's POV. Due to Endeavor being imprisoned, a lot more heroes are being reevaluated, causing school to be canceled a couple of days, and for me to be stuck at home thanks to everyone hating me more. After they all calmed down, I walked to school with Ida and Uraraka, and since we left early to avoid the mob's daily arrival, we stopped at the park for a little bit. When we arrived, I saw a homeless man on a bench, and I instantly felt bad for him. After gently waking him up, I gave him a lot of money and told him to get cleaned up and rent an apartment. When he realized what I did, he asked what I wanted, thinking I was a crook. I told him nothing, and he smiled. Finally, an honest person. May I shake your hand? I let him and felt his quirk force itself into me. Take my quirk as thanks, young man. I can't use it anymore, and I know what you learn with it will make you a better man than I was. With that, he left, whistling a happy tune. Ida, a bit irritated. Please tell me you didn't take his quirk. I didn't have a choice. He gave it to me like how my dad did before he died. I felt it force its way into my gem body. Uraraka smiled. I know you'll live up to his expectations. What kind of quirk is it? I looked at its genetic data, only to find out its name was Slider. I tilted my head. That's odd, there is no data on the quirk in its DNA. Maybe I have to use it first. When the two looked at me confused, I explained that. As I gained quirks, I instantly know how to use them in their name. Once they understood that I told them its name, Uraraka jumped off the bench they sat as I explained it. Maybe you have to go down a slide to activate it. There's a slide right there, so let's see if that'll do it. Ida started to say that was a childish idea, but before he could finish, I was going down the slide as a portal appeared, taking me elsewhere. 1 second I was going down a slide, and the next second I was kissing Momo, except she had fangs. I quickly backed away and apologized as I learned about my new quirk, Sliders. This quirk lets you travel between realities with the first time swapping you and your double of the reality you transfer to. You will be swapped back randomly after at least 24 hours. This quirk would also save your dimension and any future ones you visit in your DNA, so when you pass it on to someone else, they must start from scratch, even if they perfectly copy it. Momo quickly shushed me. Izuku and I asked for the kiss, don't be sorry, plus I love the idea of me being your vampire girlfriend. I backed away instantly. I'm sorry, but I may be Izuku. I am not your Izuku. When I bumped into a plant pot and rang, she instantly checked where I hit it. My porcelain skin was already repairing itself, but it still stunned her. Before you scream or freak out, do you know if my family of this reality is still alive? She grabbed her phone and called someone. Hisashi, it's me, Momo. I think something is wrong with Izuku. His skin is now porcelain, and instead of flesh, he is made of emeralds. That's when a portal appeared under me, and I ended up on a couch in the living room of a smallish apartment. Momo was standing next to me, and Mom was on the love seat next to some guy with white hair and freckles like mine. Izuku, are you okay, son? Did one of your creations backfire? I sat up. Wait, son. Dad, is that you? Wait, that must mean either he left and came back, or he never left. Either that, or Mom remarried in this reality. This reality's version of my mom walked over and looked at my eyes. She hugged me and calmed me down. I know you're not my son, but you're still in Izuku. Where's my son? Were you in a safe zone when you switched? I nodded. I was with Ida and Uraraka. They're my classmates at UA. As long as he doesn't attack them, he will be fine, except maybe a sore rear. I was going down a slide after I gained a quirk called Sliders. Oh crud, I knew that sounded familiar. It's like the old TV series. Oh no, we might be swapped anywhere from a day to a couple of weeks. Hisashi began to sigh. Great, and we had plans for today too. Quick question, who is your father in your world? I told them, and he chuckled softly as he said, at least that, you nothing going to UA and having quirks match up. So am I a villain in this reality? If so, I swear I won't tell anyone, but I won't break the law. They all nodded. Yep, and I joined you last night. Yesterday, our Izuku lead an attack on the USJ, which is a training place for heroes, and hurt All Might for being a major hypocrite. We also started dating, and he was going to claim the reason I have fangs and need BLD is because of his ultimate vampire quirk, and that since we were dating it triggered something. I blushed. I'm glad this reality's me has more confidence. I'm still single, though Midnight wants to change that. They laughed, and I spent family time with them. When Dad and I went outside to play, Kachi became a white-haired clone of me and explained why. When class started up on the following Monday, I went straight to Nizu. Unprintable Nizu, may I talk with you? When I saw it was an animal thing like mine, I relaxed some. I told him that I used a quirk that swapped me and their Izuku, and he believed me. After I told him of my world, he told me a bit about his, then sent me down to class with a note for Aizawa. When he read the note, he shook his head. Izuku, please tell me this is a forged note. I shook my head. It's not. Nizu just gave it to me. I didn't read it like he asked me to. Aizawa then called this world's Kaken over and showed him the note. While they both read it, I looked around the room only for a blast to knock my head off. DM it, Kaken. Do you hate this reality's me or something? I formed my body as I usually do, skeleton first, and with a jade covering of personal areas before I reach into my bag for some backup clothes. So Momo wasn't lying when she said Izuku was going to surprise us. I look at Mineta, who looks a lot bigger and more normal size compared to my worlds. Mineta, is that you? You're definitely different from the one in my world. Did he start school that way, or was he a grape-headed midget? This made everyone laugh, thinking I was joking, until Aizawa shut them up. Class, according to what we just saw in Nizu's note, this is not our Izuku, but one from another reality. Answer his questions and don't bully him. Also, sorry about your head. It was an order from Nizu. It's okay. I don't know how long I'll be here, but just in case. I broke my old body into shards, showing off my bones and veins in the emerald flesh. I then made everyone necklaces, earrings, or rings to remember me by. There now none of you can forget meeting me. I'm Izuku Midoriya, hero in training known as Spite the Green Mineral Hero. That's when the questions started up. My quirk lets me undo an item's gravity. Is it same for the me in your reality? Actually, Uraraka, I boosted your quirk in my reality, removing your drawback, and making you able to increase it. Now, since I don't know if you guys would be able to handle it here, I won't boost you. Now, please answer my question about Mineta. Mineta laughed. I was a grape-headed midget, as you put it, and a major pervert until our Izuku taught me being a pervert is not a good thing. I got a girlfriend, and Vamp Izuku helped my body mature like it was supposed to. Everyone instantly agreed I'd be Gem Izuku, and their Izuku would be Vamp Izuku. Is there a big villain killing heroes in your world other than Stain? I instantly shook my head. Nope, just him last I checked. I've been here since Thursday, and I hope your guys all might will be okay. Momo told me about Wednesday. Also, Shoto, I'm sorry about your dad. She should have went to jail like my worlds instead of dying like he did. I heard about how he treated your family from Vamp Me's mom. Shoto sat up so quick I thought he would break his neck. My dad is in jail in your reality. I nodded. He attacked me for no reason to try to arrest me and give me a record, so I couldn't be in UA. Then he tried to kill me as I protected people and the mall from his flames. Both times he obviously failed and lost his hero's license. Shoto smiled. At least I know karma got him in your world. After a bit of talking, we went to lunch, where I suddenly got sucked into a void world with Vammy. I know what you were, Fire Opal. Don't worry, I didn't turn you in. I was just happy to have Dad in my life for a while, even though I had to pretend he was my brother. Also, good luck with Momo and sorry, but I kind of kissed her. He just laughed. It's okay, Spite. I like that hero name. I will use it in my world too, if that's okay. I nodded and handed him the notes I made for his class, and he did the same for me. May I have copies of what quirks you have? I am curious what it is like to have a vampiric quirk. I ask as I think about the pranks I could pull. Let's both copy quirks, but I don't know if I can bite you. I put my arm out for him to try. I was shocked that he could bite me, but as he copied my quirks, I copied his through his teeth. After he stopped biting me, I was dumped in my world's lunchroom. I slowly stood up and popped my back. Uraraka, next time I get a Daedalus quirk, make sure I look up its name first. With that, she hugged me, and everyone welcomed me back. We caught up on what I missed and checked the notes Vammy wrote. I blushed at the last page. It was taped with notes from people asking me for a date. Looks like I have a lot of girls and a couple of guys interested in me. Now to find out if it's my looks, character, or my worth. This will be a while. Izuku POV. I just got back from my last little dimensional swap when another portal popped up. Out came a less muscular version of me with a floating holographic screen and keyboard. Dimensional test complete. So I can use my quirk to slide between realities. Oh, sorry, but where am I exactly? I don't know this place, Cyber Izuka asked. Uraraka replied, you're in the UA cafeteria, and it's best you go back to your reality. You and our Izuku look very similar. He thinks, and suddenly forms holograms over his face. I sighed and made Jade become a headband. To stop confusion, I will be Gem Izuku, and our visitor is Cyber Izuku. Why did you slide into our reality? He summoned a simple chair by typing on the keyboard of his and sat in it. I'm sorry about intruding. I just came here to see a possible quirk I could have been born with. I'm guessing with your name, you're made of emeralds. I nodded and showed him my insides by removing a bit of my porcelain skin. Cyber Izuku shuddered. That is creepy as hell. If being a hero fails, you can do a lot in horror films as a villain. Kaken nearly blasted him in a next week when Cyber Me finished that sentence. Don't use that word. Because of that word, our Izuku was treated like CRP. I quickly apologized and said he was quirkless until yesterday, so he kind of understands being hated for something out of his control. What's your quirk, Cyber? I'm guessing it has to do with those holograms, I said as I drank some water. He smiled, shaking a bit. My quirk is the code. It basically lets me do anything I want with reality as if it is a game, program, or rough draft of a story. I also have increased intelligence. That's when May Hatsune from the support class came running over. How did you make this hologram system, Izukus? Why is there two of you? Cyber laughed. The holograms are a part of my quirk, but I have make sketches for a holographic PC the size of a bracelet. He began to look through a small bag, pulling out random stuff. What surprised everyone was when he pulled out items bigger than the bag, as if it was Mary Poppins' carpet bag. Once he found an odd-colored notebook, he typed on his keyboard, causing the notebook to become 3. He tossed one at me and the other duplicate at May. She screamed, hugged him, then ran off to eat lunch and get to work. I opened the one I got and sighed. Please tell me none of these can explode. Cyber shook his head. Not one, except a charged solar cell battery. Luckily, those take forever to overcharge. Will the May in my world be like her? I shrugged as I looked at some designs for a new armor suit. No clue. You might not have her in your world. My dad is dead here, and in another world, he is alive. He sighed. I hope she is there and close to yours. Also, Jim, how's All Might here? Mine was injured badly before I healed him. I don't really know. I'm still mad at him for dumping me once he found out my dad was his biggest enemy. I replied, and I lead Cyber to the teacher's lounge. Once there we saw Nizu and All Might in his powered-down form. Before I could stop Cyber, he picked up Nizu and petted him. This is so cute. I wonder if my All Might has this cute pet. Nizu looked up at him. Another Izuku, and this one loves cute things. What's next? An Izuku that blows stuff up. I quickly bowed. Sorry, Principal Nizu, I forgot to tell him. I don't think he is in UA in his world. Cyper gently put Nizu down and backed up. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't offend you. Nizu laughed and hopped back onto his seat, saying it was okay. All Might stood up. How many other Izukus will we end up meeting? We both shrugged as Cyber looked All Might over. I can easily heal him back to his prime and add some extra oomph. I was stunned. Wait, you can do that. I thought you were joking, but I was hoping you were an All Might fan. He nodded. Yes, I can, and I am. Okay, Skill Might, how much extra oomph do you want? 10% or 25% extra from when you were in your primes? All Might's jaw dropped as Nizu and I laughed at the name. At least it's better than Skeletor. This made Nizu and Cyber laugh harder. Wait, someone called him Skeletor. Is it on tape? I nodded, just when All Might suddenly powered back up. Cyber chuckled. I gave you 20%, and I found the clip online. That is funny. I want to save it, so no one in my reality will see it. All Might thanked him before Cyber said goodbye and left. I hope I fit into my UA. Have fun, Gem. I, of course, secretly copied his quirk and rubbed my head. You okay, young Midoriya? All Might asked. I nodded as I head to the door. He wasn't joking about being smart. His IQ must be through the roof. With that, I went back to lunch and explained that Cyber left. We all hoped he would get into UA, and that if he does have a May, that she is not as crazy. That's when we felt a sonic boom. When we looked out the window, we could see All Might running around and doing flips as if he was a kid again. I recorded it on my phone and headed to class as the bell rang. I wonder how many other MES I will meet. I stretched as I finished making myself some items from the notebook Cyber Izuku gave me yesterday. I hold up what looks like a simple bracelet and put it on. Once it's on, I make a fist and move a certain way, causing my arm to ring. The ringing nose activated the bracelet, which created a big energy shield. I smiled and manually compressed the shield. That's when I got a text from May. She's a bit crazy, but she is a brilliant inventor. May, I made a solar surfer. It works awesomely. The solar panels turn 1 second of pure sunlight into hours of power. Me, please tell me you didn't overcharge or damage the solar surfer batteries used to store the energy. May, does it result in an explosion? If so, not yet. Me, don't do it. Power Loader is mad enough at you. If you want to test it, ask to do it in a fake city. May, good idea. Did you finish the watch thingy? Me, I built the shield, but I've not tested its durability. I use Plan C, so I can use my arm ringing to activate it. Power Loader join chat, PL. Please tell me neither of you built the armor necklace. May and me, nope, just build us a version of it, okay? May, he's already at it. Should we leave the bow to him as well? PL, there's a bow. May go photocopy the rest of that book. Me, Power Loader, calm down. I will give you a copy when I get there. I will put a green star next to the ones I'm building. May add some symbol for the ones you claimed okay. May, just do a pink star on page 1 for 6, 9, 22, 30, 32, 40, 44, and 420 me and PL. May no. May, yes. May left the chat, PL. I will stop her. There's no way she's making instant high gas. She will kill us all. Power Loader left the chat. I sighed and put a note on my door explaining to my mom that May went rogue again. Once I was done, I teleported to the school, where I saw Power Loader and May fighting over the notebook. Using a fire quirk, I incinerated it without hurting them. Both were mad until they saw me holding a ball of fire. May apologized. Sorry about making you come in early, Izuku. Please don't destroy me. I used the code to duplicate the notebook, with one being pink and the other nice yellow. Yellow book is Power Loader's and has the drag-based creations in it with his stuff on yellow pages. Pink is yours, May. Your stuff is on pink pages and devoid of drag items. Do not steal Power Loaders or my book, or I will destroy all of your babies, I said as I tossed them their books. By babies, I meant mice creations. She nodded, knowing I would do it. With a smile, I showed the shield. It looks awesome. Want to test it in the explosive power of a SSB. They basically screamed, yes, grabbing rocket-powered weapons and one SSB. Power Loader sighed. Go to Site X. It's the only one that repairs itself. After warping the three of us, we placed the SSB in the exact center of the mile-wide site. The Solar Surfer battery looked like a watch battery with spikes along the thin, curved sides. I ran back to nearly the edge of the site before having a very sharp emerald shard impale it. The explosion was almost instant. I barely had enough time to activate my shield and form an emerald wall behind it. The side was ruined all the way to the walls, which lost a few inches worth of its insides. Luckily, the shield was the size of a crouching Power Loader, or we all would have been killed. It even destroyed parts of my emerald wall that wasn't protected by the shield. May, how charged was that battery? I swear if that was a fully charged one, I will destroy a baby, I asked as I glared at her. May was shaken, and all I could get was the word 10. After a couple of minutes, I understood. Power Loader put that book in a safe when not in use. Same for you, May. If that truly was just a 10% charge, a full charge could be a lot worse. May grabbed my arm. Please tell me you know where to get something called Vibranium Tritanium Naquata alloy. I just used obsidian, and it's just weaker than your emeralds. Power Loader freaked out as he finally processed what happened. Such alloy doesn't exist. It's from comic books and TV shows. I sighed and popped my back. You could have asked me to form some of it. The alloy actually exists in Cyberme's reality. Stay still, please. Without much hesitation, I undid all of the damage and caused the battery to reform where we left it. Once it was all done, I formed a box around the battery. Brace yourselves. Round 2 and May are the batteries you made exactly to the design. She nodded as she hid behind me and the shield with Power Loader running to the observation room. Once he was above us and secured, I detonated the battery the same way. This time, all that happened was the box shaking violently for roughly 6 seconds with a pillar of fire shooting out of the hole the emerald came through. I relaxed and retracted my shield as I warped the three of us back to the classroom. Next time you two need interdimensional materials, just ask me. I don't care since I don't sleep, but I will get you what's needed ASAP. Definitely glad I had the material around my shield battery, or we would have definitely been dead. After I created personal storage dimensions linked to them and special watches, we all talked about our next projects. I, of course, fixed my surfer, so she wouldn't be a flying nuke. Power Loader got busy on his necklace, as May began to work on a hologram projector. I told them both bye as I headed upstairs to my classroom, forgetting that part of my uniform was charred. Ida and Uraraka were the first two into the classroom, and they both freaked out. They asked if I was attacked, or if Bakugo was still mad about me beating him in battle training. Guys, calm down. I was helping May with something, and it blew up. Don't worry about it. I am fine. They didn't believe me until I showed them the blast from something. I, of course, blurred it, so they would never know a battery was a mini nuke. When Kakin and his squad arrived, he was pissed when he saw my uniform. Very similar rant to Uraraka and Ida till the three of us told him it was a Miem mishap. Izuku, that beach is going to end up killing you. I sighed and nodded as I motioned them to their seats while Aizawa walked in. He seemed happy as hell in his new sleeping bag I had made create for him. It was basically a padded onesie with heating and cooling system, pockets for items, and it's bulletproof. Everyone looked at me as he walked in. What you all saw him moonwalking the one with just legs. Why not create the ultimate portable bed for him? Plus, he's not irritated by dry eye, so he might be getting better sleep. Denki leaned over and whispered, "Can you get us all one of those?" Imagine us all wearing those at a sleepover. Bakugo heard and smirked. If you can mind, better have explosions and skulls on it. Also make it battle-usable, if possible, so every year we can fight crime in them on National Pajama Day. Everyone loved that idea, and I had a laugh. Asked Ma'am Aizawa what's the power source on it. He shrugged as he muttered something about a SSB. When those letters out, I tackled him and removed the power source from it. Sorry, Aizawa. May put something unstable in it. I will fix it and reinstall it in a few seconds. Everyone was tense as I slowly moved the box holding the battery to my desk. Uraraka asked, "Is that what singed your outfit?" I only nodded as I began to fix it as carefully and silently as possible. Aizawa was stunned, but collected himself. Anyways, today, for hero training after lunch, we will be going to the unseen simulation joint. There we will train for rescue during natural disasters and different environments. Izuku, if you can hurry up, please. This thing is getting really hot. I finished and reinstalled it. There we go, fixed. If it violently shakes, tell me, and I will replace the battery. That's just how it says the battery won't work anymore. He nodded and sighed. As long as it doesn't happen often, I will be happy. I nodded and quickly formed a small portal that led to May. May anything else using SSBs? I just found out the Eraserhead Super Sleeper was. She shook her head. Nope, I only made 3 SSBs. You know where they all are. I relaxed. The sleepers are actually popular. Can you make one for each of my classmates that match their hero costumes, and also one for me? I will take care of the SSB part. You're no longer allowed to make them. May nodded and ran to the fabric, grabbing lots of rolls. Hero work worthy. Aizawa special. Or just the temp system. My entire class and Aizawa yelled hero work. She popped her head through the portal. Okay, sheesh, I get it. Oh yeah, Aizawa, yours is cut and bulletproof with lots of mini capture scarf thingies in it. Just grab the odd strap in the hand openings to use them. Oh, Izuku, can I sell ones that use regular batteries online? I nodded and pushed her back through as I closed the portal. Yep, and here a gift to get started. I cut off my hand, leaving it at her desk as I regrew it. Mineta screamed and fainted when he saw the stump. After we woke the pervert up, we began our classes. We had homeroom, English with Present Mike, and then creative writing with Midnight. Both asked for a sleeper as well, and I gave May the orders. She was ecstatic that even other heroes wanted something she created. When lunch came, we all joked about what Nizu would look like in one. What we didn't expect was to see him getting his lunch in one. It was adorable, and I had to restrain a few of the female students before they could touch him. Thank you, Izuku. Do I really look that cute in this? I took a picture and showed him, which made him look surprised. I'll only wear this in my office or at home from now on. After lunch, everyone switched into their hero outfits and got onto the bus for our hero lesson. As we traveled, we all talked and joked about random things until Tsu, our frog quirk user, asked me a question. Izuku, is it possible for you to just peek into other dimensions with portals? I shrugged as I tried only to get poked in the eyes by an angry female, Mineta, from another dimension. Yep, and apparently the portal shows up wherever I am in that reality. Everyone asked what I saw before I was suddenly poked. I healed myself as I replied. I now understand why Aizawa says he is not paid enough for our antics. This made Aizawa laugh and look back at me through the rear-view mirror. What did you see? You as a teacher. I sighed. An all-female class of us. Heck, Aizawa even had a female double, and she was keeping Mineta away from everyone else. Everyone's jaw dropped as I said that. Mineta couldn't resist. Was I at least hot? I shook my head. Nope. Only difference was small tips and great pigtails. Wipe your mind. No one should see that. Kakin yelled, making everyone, including Aizawa, laugh. Even Mineta laughed after a minute. They asked me to look at another reality, and I refused. I'm not getting blinded again. When we arrived at the USJ, we all followed Aizawa into Meet 13 and a now fully healed All Might who was currently parkouring in the destroyed city zone. I watched as 13 did a speech about how quirks can kill if misused while glaring at me, Shoto, and Kakin. That's when a big purple portal appeared. I instantly recognized it as Kurogira's warp Quirk. Everyone get ready to defend yourselves. That is not my portal, and I hope my hunch is wrong. Out came hundreds of small-time thugs, a guy with hands all over his body, some bird mutant with its brain exposed, and Kurogiri. Kurogiri quickly bowed to me. I'm sorry, Mr. Midoriya, that we must fight so soon after your father's passing. Please forgive me, but I must follow my orders. And FTSH as I dubbed and began to speak. Shut up, Kurogiri. If you were my rideout, I would turn you into dust. At least the intel was correct that All Might and Master's BSDRD son would be here. I was unfazed by it. I forgive you, Kurogiri. If it's possible, get out of my way, and I'll help you the best I can. Kurogiri split the kids up and put that gym brat in front of Nomo. Kurogiri begins to move, and I yell, in the name of all for one, send all villains to jail and become my friend. The shout stuns my entire class. Apparently not everyone knew that he was my father. Kurogiri obeyed me, sending all the villains to jail, but left him and the bird thingy there. Kurogiri walked over and bowed again. Thank you for freeing me from that rotten brat. I have no clue what your father saw in him. By the way, I'm also a Nomu, a life form with multiple quirks given by science. I will obey you, and so will he. I think for a bit. Kuro, turn in all of the villains you know of that work with my dad. I don't want any more Nomus made. No offense, but I don't want to cause any chaos. Kurogiri chuckled. As you wish, Mr. R, and it is done. We do have one problem, though. There are 50 other Nomu, not including me, in this one. Also, you must fight the last ally of your dad's. He doesn't listen to anyone unless they were your dad, or they beat him. I noticed my classmates looking between me, Kurogiri, and the big Nomu. Aizawa, it might be best everyone backs away for a little bit. Guys, I promise to explain who my father is and what I do know. Aizawa used his sleeper's mini scarves to pull everyone away. He yelled at me, "You have an hour and you owe me 2 all-out versions of this suit." I nodded and looked at Kurogiri. Let's get over with. Nomu, stand near the door. Help Aizawa keep the class out, but don't hurt anyone. The brute nodded and walked to the door, sitting in front of it and growling. Suddenly a giant man was warped to in front of the fountain. MS meet Gigantomachia, your father's strongest bodyguard. I looked up at the giant guy, even though he was standing a few meters below me. His appearance looked like an orc from most fantasy games, but if parts of him was made of flesh-colored stones, and his teeth are all jagged similar to Karashima. Before Gigantomachia could try to attack me, I struck first. After a fight, which almost took up all of the time Aizawa gave me, I won, knocking out the big brute. I, of course, healed him and waited for him to wake up as I called my mom. Hey, sweetie, what's up? Are you in trouble? I chuckle. No, I'm not in trouble, but we might need a mansion after all. My mom's tone went stern. What did you do? I sigh. Mom, remember that vapor guy who brought us dad? Well, he's now our butler, I guess, and we also have 51 other workers called Nomu. I will explain them later. We might also need a giant-sized guest house for a bodyguard called Gigantomachia. I beat him, but I'm not sure if he now sees me as a superior. My mom sighed and said she would look into it. As she hung up, the giant woke up and shook his head. You beat me like MSTR. You now MSTR. How is all for one? I help him stand up. He is dead. He returned my quirk, then died. He looked sad and nodded. I will protect Jim, MSTR. I won't fail you. I nodded. Nomi, you can let them in now. Come here next to me. The creature then walked over to me and stood there as my classmates came in. You better explain to them, Izuku. Shoto nearly froze me. Kakin said as he slowly breaks ice off of his costume. Okay, simple stuff first. My dad was all for one, enemy of All Might. I never knew till a tiny bit before it hit the news where I gained my second BRTH quirk, which I call Extreme Copy. Lets me copy and enhance quirks, and if I copy the enhanced versions for people I gave them to, I can enhance it again. Now that I claimed Kurogiri, Gigantomachia, and the Nomus created, I now have an army to use to help or destroy the world. I will take all Nomu and try to make them back to who they used to be. It may be a while, but I will try. Aizawa was the first to talk. Good to know, but now it's time to train. Kurojiri, will you help with the lesson? Kurojiri looked at me, and so did the other two. I nodded. Help with the lesson and do not hurt anyone. After that, my classmates and I did hours of training and playing with my 3 new employees, I guess. Noma was kind of like a puppy, so everyone enjoyed it. By the end of the day, we were all tired. We had Kurojiri teleport us and the bus to school, and then each of us home. Everyone thanked Kurojiri, which made some of his mist into a light pink. When I got home, I had the Nomu and Gigantomachia stay in the backyard. I did make them a big tent and beds through for them to fit. Both liked the beds and were soon out like someone hit them with Midnight's quirk. After tucking them in, I headed inside with Kuro. My mom welcomed him, and I told her about what happened. She was so proud of me and showed us some different mansions that could hopefully fit Gigantomachia, but we had to go there first. Once we set up dates to look at them, I lead Kurojiri to the guest room, where he thanked me. Again, I'm glad you figured out what I meant. Hopefully you can fix the other Nomu, but I want to stay as I am. I will serve you and your family till the end of time. I hugged him. You don't have to, Kurojiri. I told you to be my friend, not my butler. Should you ever want to leave and explore the world, just keep in contact, okay? I won't chain you to us. If there are other sentient Nomu like you, I will give them the choice. Heck, if they want to make a Nomu village, I will do everything in my power to build it. Good night, Kurojiri. Sleep well, my friend. Oh yeah, you remember that odd sleeping bag outfit Izuku was wearing? Do you want one? Any pattern you want I can probably get made. He laughed. I actually would. It looked comfy and useful. I smiled and nodded as I went to bed. This weekend will be a long one. I have to start training for the sports festival and work on undoing nomification. I couldn't help but keep smiling as I knew once I figured it all out it would be worth it. It has been a very long month since I stopped the League of Villains. Mom, the Nomu, Gigantomachia, Kurojiri, and I have moved into a giant mansion, and we had multiple houses built for Nomu overflow and a special play area for the Nomu that can rebuild itself. There were a lot more Nomu than Kurojiri knew of, and there were 10 others sentient like him. They help keep the normal Nomu in line, and we all talk. They all enjoy being Nomu, but they dislike the hate aimed at them because of their appearance. After a few days of talking, I decided to make Quirk holding crystals out of boredom. Each crystal holds a different quirk, and if someone has their skin touch the crystal, they can use the quirks in it. That's when I came up with an idea. I rushed over to a Nomu called Hood. He is an expert fighter, and I have trained with him some, which will hopefully win the sports festival in a week. Hood, I have an idea, but I want your permission first. Hood looked down at me from the tree he usually is in. Izuku, tell me your idea first. I will decide afterwards. I nodded. I think I figured out how to make your Nomu form into a quirk and give you a human form, so you can blend into society. I can create crystals that store quirks, and since I can edit quirks. Hood jumped down and knelt down, so we were same height. You can make the quirks that ruin body into a new one which you can store in crystal that I can use when needed. Kinda want to test it on a normal Nomu first. Might be able to make them sentient again. Do you know of any close to expiration due to quirk imbalance? Hood grabbed a flying Nomu and brought him to me. I tried on the chosen one and averted my eyes once it was done. I quickly covered the now female human in a blanket and waited for her to wake up as I tinker with the quirks I crystallized. She soon woke up and looked around confused. Where am I? Who are you two, and what happened to the tests? Hood, get Kuro. Tell him female Denomo. I am Izuku Midoriya, and I just undid what a scientist did to you. You were made into a creature called a Nomo, a brainless creature that obeyed orders and fought heroes. She cried when I finished that explanation. I gently hugged her and told her it's okay and that she is safe. I hope that was a nightmare. I'm sorry that I fell for his trick. I just want a quirk. I smiled as Kurojiri walked over. It's okay, ma'am. Look, I can give you a quirk, or you can use what you were make amends. This crystal holds what I call Nomo form. Is what you used to be. I have changed it to let you keep your mind and stay in control. You just have to wear this crystal to use it. She looked at me in shock and then blushed as she is led away covered by the blanket. If possible, I would like both options. One for everyday use and the other to hopefully be a hero. I smiled and called Nizu happy for what I had done. Principal Nizu, I undid one Nomu. The female remembers all she did as a Nomu and wants to be a hero to atone for what she did. Nisa laughed. That is good to hear. Do you want her in A1? I sighed. Unfortunately, no. Moneta would try to stuck her since she looks about 20 and is attractive. If the other Nomu act the same way after I undo it all, can you make a new class called Class N1 for them? I tried not to laugh as I hear him start yelling for Cementos to call in a meeting. I will see if it can be done. How many Nomu are there? I sighed. 60, not including Kirojiri. You want to be my friend and butler, not a hero? I've asked. He laughed and said by hanging up to do the meeting. Once I was done with the call, I began to undo the notification on the normal Nomu. It was a mix of men, women, and a lot of kids. Most were quirkless, except a few who had weak quirks. All of them, especially the kids, wanted to be heroes to make up for all they were ordered to do. Very few wanted to keep their Nomu form, but I did give people quirks they wanted. Some got 2 not, including an F, as they wanted their parents' quirks or a better fusion. I got them all enrolled and reunited with family if they had any. Unfortunately, most were kicked out of their family because of their quirkless nature. I let those without family stay with us as guests in the house, though they may have to help out some in exchange. Everyone agreed, and soon we had a big party with my class invited to meet everyone I healed. After a long night of everyone having fun, I cleaned up the mess. I was happy to have helped so many already. After a week, everyone went to class to become heroes, even the kids, since it's late in the school year. They were getting more education-based than hero-based training, but hopefully, when they come of age, they will really be good with their quirks. Back in class, I looked out the window and at the kids playing and using their quirks. I smiled and did my schoolwork until I saw one kid begin to bully another kid. That, for some reason, made me mad. I quickly warped down to them, scaring them and my classmates. Don't pick on anyone. I'm not giving you a quirk so you can be a bully. You want to be in prison like Endeavor. The kid, who is a fire quirk, looked up at me surprised. Why is Endeavor in prison? He's an awesome hero. I sighed and motioned all the kids over. You all should know not all heroes are true heroes. Some are in it just for fame and money. Endeavor was one of those. He arranged a quirk marriage to create Shoto Todoroki, someone with ice and fire. Yes, Penny, I'm talking about the walking candy cane in my class. That joke made everyone laugh. Now Endeavor abused and beat all his kids and his wife, putting her in a mental hospital when she finally snapped. All his abuse was swept under a rug because of his status. Then the world, and I learned my father was the biggest villain in the world. That's when Hothead decided to become more popular. I sighed and leaned against a nearby tree. What he did was try to kill me, just because I was trying to enter UA and my father was all for one. He got me put in jail for 3 days because he wanted me to miss the entrance exam, and then he tried to melt me after I got in. That's when people realized his true colors and how a few others acted just like him. All of them are in jail or doing lots of community service. Now no bullying, or I will remove the quirks I gave you. Then you'll have to earn them back. Understood. They all nodded, and the bully apologized, saying he just didn't get why the kid chose wind. I chuckled as I pulled the 2 over. Okay, now this will be fun to do. Now, Aang, use your wind to make a small tornado on the cement there. Now, once it's formed, Zuko, add some fire to it. They did it and caused a very hot fire tornado. I destroyed it after a bit and smiled. Just because you don't know its uses means a quirk is weak or useless. Sometimes they need another quirk to bring its full potential. Now be good. I'll see you all after class. They all said bye as I warped back into the classroom. Sorry, Present Mike. I was just teaching class him not to bully. He nodded and resumed his lesson. When we went to lunch, Kakin pulled me aside. Do you think that those extras from middle school will forgive me for being so mean? I laughed. Maybe if you stop calling them all extras. He nodded, and we went on to lunch. As we ate, we all claimed we all were training for the sports festival. I called Hood, and he said he would train anyone I deemed worthy of it. I smiled. Thanks, Hood, but be aware one is a pervert and will try to grope the girls. He nodded and ended the call to make an arena in the self-repairing building. Moneta walked over. Izuku, can you introduce me to Mocha Vanwin? I would like to date her. I instantly picked him up and tossed him at her. She saw and smirked as she kicked him through an open window and into the school's pool. Thank you, Midoriya. I was sick of him staring at me. I just waved and sighed as I ate some katsudan. I swear that pervert is going to get himself killed. We definitely need to break that out of him and Denki. Everyone gave the living battery a glare as they all made noises of them agreeing. After school, we all went home and trained with Hood and a few Dynamute who kept their NFs. We all had fun, and I decided to make it into a sleepover since it was a Friday and I had plenty of rooms. Of course, I caught Mineta trying to sneak into the giant bedroom the girls were in. I smirked evilly as I knocked on the door. Girls, I caught Mineta. Want to use him as a living Barbie. As the girls discussed what they should answer while the grape-headed moron begged for forgiveness. Momo opened the door. We will punish him tomorrow morning after breakfast. We will spend some of tonight planning outfits. Can you make him into a girl, though? We will need measurements. The aura of malice was so thick from those girls, I instantly regretted this idea. I made him into a female for a bit, then quickly undid it once they were done. Mineta, if you try again, I will make you into a slug. Now back to the room you and Denki are sharing. I then saw Denki trying to sneak to the girls' room, stopping the second he saw me and Mineta. Girls, Denki just volunteered to join Mineta. I grabbed and changed him for the girls to measure. Once they were done, I dragged them both down the hall and into their room. After changing Denki back, I coated the room in emeralds, sealed the windows, and formed bars in the doorway. Now stay. If either of you somehow get out, I will have call midnight. You know how she loves perverts. I said, my voice full of venom. Shoto looked out of the room he chose. Izuku, why are you so mad? That tone in your voice even scared me. My tone changed to my normal happy self. Sorry, Shoto. These two try to see the girls' NDE again. They will be punished by the girls tomorrow, and if they are smart, they will stay in their room till breakfast or the morning gaming tournament. Shoto sighed. Want me to watch them? I shook my head and put a camera on the wall. I have it covered. Sleep well, Shoto. I walked to my room a few doors down and sat on my bed. I wanted everything back to normal, but was it always this crazy? Oh, well, tomorrow should be a fun fashion show with the perverts getting embarrassed. I think I will call midnight and have her help the girls. I sent her a text, and suddenly almost 5 minutes later, there was knocking on the front door. With a quick warp down there, I let midnight in. You sent me a text. Is everything okay? I laughed. Mostly. Can you help the girls punish the class perverts? I caught them trying to prep at the girls. Midnight smirked and pushed me against the wall. Will I finally get a date with you? I sighed. Sure, next week on Wednesday around 6 sound good. She kissed me on the cheek, making sure to press against me. That'll do, Izuku dear. What room are the perverts in? Punishment is tomorrow after breakfast. I'll lead you to the girls and give you a room. I lead her to the girls and point to the room next to it. You can sleep there once you finish planning. She enters the girls' room as I set up her bedroom. Once I'm done, I hear a girl scream, so I knock on the door. Are you all okay in there? I heard a scream. I hear the girls cussing about me, not falling for it, and I sigh. I was raised properly, and I want to sleep tonight. Good night, ladies. See you in the morning. I headed off to bed chuckling. Maybe normal is overrated. I walk over to the pervert cell in the middle of the night. They thought they'd be smart by covering the gem bars with Mineta's stupid pop-off ball. With a smirk, I turn the pop-off into emeralds which get absorbed into the bars. What I see is Mineta on Denki's shoulders with pop-off, holding on him to lift him up towards the air vents. Seriously, you two. Get down now, or I will have midnight come. 5,432. Fine. I'm calling midnight. As I counted, the two fools just froze as if I wouldn't be able to see them. The second I said I was calling her, Mineta jumped off the wall, hurting him, and Denki. Izuku, please don't call midnight. I won't try again, I promise. Mineta begged as I pulled out my phone and texted midnight to run down the hall. Denki crawled over to the door. Please, Izuku, have mercy. Don't summon that crazy woman. That's when she suddenly appears next to me. I'm crazy. Who's the bloody perverts that tried to grope every girl in the school? I looked at her stunned. Oh my, I didn't even hear you come down the hall. Nice job on stealth. She smirked as Mineta and Denki backed away from the emerald bars. I sigh. Please knock the two out for the next 7 hours. I'm already tired of them. She does, and once they're out, she kissed my cheek. You now owe me 2 dates. You are not the only person after me. Trust me when I say all I can do is 1 date currently. She scoffed. Who can compare to me? I just sighed annoyed. MT Lady Mariko in 1 and M One has a lot of girls into me. Main one, though, is Mocha. Her vampire quirk is very interesting. With that said, I went back to room and closed my door. It took about 3 minutes for Midnight to knock on my door. Midnight, it's literally midnight, and I would like to sleep. I'm not slept in over a month, and I don't want to get cranky. She tried to kiss me, but I formed a wall of emerald. Come on, Izuku. I will let you test quirks on me and everything. Just become my boyfriend. Can we talk about this later? If not, tomorrow will be hell for you, as well as the perverts. I simply stated, my voice vibrating some low notes to make my voice sound demonic. With that, she left me alone to sleep. Honestly, I don't need to sleep, but it helps with my sanity. When morning came, I headed downstairs to make breakfast with kirojiri and some dinamute to feed everyone. Once it was all made, I smirked. Hey Stan, how about you wake up the guests? Nothing ear-shattering, just jarring. Except for the perverts in the Emerald Bard room. Take Murray with you to eat the bars enough for them to get out. The duo leave, and a bit later I hear Stan yell, "Good morning, A1." And Midnight. There was then silence for a bit before a much louder, "Wake up, perverts." I quickly used the time Quirk to fix any damage from his yelling. After a bit, everyone came down and sat at the giant table. I did divert the two troublemakers to a small table by themselves behind a group of strong men, including Hood in his human body. Everyone at the big table got along and made jokes as we all enjoyed breakfast. Once we were done eating, the girls smirked. Izuku, can we start the punishment? Also, they'll do the dishes, so don't worry. I sighed and switched Denki and Mineta into females before the duo were dragged away. I'm already regretting this. Once the duo were dragged away, the rest of us did a fighting game tournament with multiple game systems to make it all faster. After about half an hour, I turned and saw the duo's outfits. I busted up laughing mid-round, which made me lose, but worth it. The pair were in hot pink, made outfits with the word pervert on different sections of the outfits. Once the dishes were done, they were both dragged away again by Midnight sing, "Outfit change time, perverts." It wasn't much longer till we saw the next outfits. We were done with the tournament as the perverts walked out. Denki was in a yellow corset, short skirt, Pikachu ears and tail, and high heels. Mineta was in a purple version of the same outfit. Please stop them. We won't try to peep or grope them again. Everyone was laughing at them, with some guys wolf, whistling, and cat calling. I walked over to the girls in charge of the punishment. 2 more outfits, and they're done okay. I think they get the point. The girls all glared at me, making me back up a bit in shock. Momo stated, 3 outfits per pervert and no less. 2 each, and that should be enough. I don't want them traumatized into being gay perverts put of fear of women. The girls talked with Midnight smirking. I didn't know what was said, but I instantly knew it was bad. Urarika blushed. 2 outfits, but you must date all of us as a girl or no deal. I gave Midnight a death glare. I know that is your doing and not happening. I'm not the ones being punished. Now only do 2, or all of you will be in the Pikachu outfit until you leave. To add to my bluff, I made thread appear in my hands. The girls quickly agreed, but Midnight walked over. If you could do LTX, it'll be useful on our date. Anyways, I have to go on patrol. See you in class. She kissed my cheek, then left. I glared at the perverts. It's your fault. I have a date with her. Stuff I have to do to straighten you out. With that said, I headed into the game room to do another tournament with racing games. The perverts were busy on drink duty with some guys slapping their tears. When I reminded them that they were underaged and once boys and explained the punishment, they understood and lessened the GRPNG. Needless to say, the duo were ashamed. Once that tournament was over, we headed to the arena to train. This time the duo wore skin-tight LTX outfits similar to Midnight's hero costume. By the time lunch arrived, both were exhausted. Everyone took showers except I temporarily made them male for theirs before their final outfit. As we ate lunch, they came out in a perverted version of our school uniform. Katsuki smirked. Too bad that isn't the girl's uniform. It's kind of nice. That's when he knew. He F up. The girls all hid him, and Urarika made him float until he apologized. They set him down, and I cleaned the dishes as the girls tormented the duo for a couple of hours. Eventually, I was able to change the 2 back where they apologized profusely to the girls. The rest of the weekend went by smoothly with the training got rougher on everyone. By the time the sports festivals came on Tuesday, everyone was ready. I yawned and slowly walked to school. Today is the sports festival, and I have a date with Midnight after it. The festival isn't what's bugging me. It's the fact that Midnight has a date with me later, and she has already planned it all. Is it too much to ask for a villain attack? Honestly, I shouldn't want that to happen, but I want to avoid that date. I talk with my classmates before we all head to the center of the arena. I was brought in front of the entire audience with a good amount booing me and the usual be gone villain spawn. Everyone, please be quiet, Midnight said as it began to get worse. I motioned that it's okay, then became a giant emerald monster and bellowed. You are all being very disrespectful. Be quiet so we can get to the games and battles you're all here for. Much better, and before I hear anyone else call me a villain, let me ask you something. Would you like to be called something you're not, because your father was one? With the audience now quiet, I returned to my normal form and quickly reformed my porcelain skin. Now all classes from N to A, you all are here to prove you're all able to become heroes or support item makers in a few cases. Use this to learn and adapt so you can make yourself better. The only person who can keep you at a low level is yourself. Also class, and please no nomoform unless you are against each other. Now let's all have fun and prove to everyone that appearances and quirks don't matter when it comes to what we want to be. With that said, I walked off the stadium with people asking what nomoform was. Midnight then walked back to the mic. Usually we would spin a wheel to choose events, but we have set up for 3 events and a special show after it all. Event 1 is an obstacle course. After that, it is a cavalry battle. And the third and final event is tournament fighting. Between the big events, we will have Class M doing their own mini-tournament that is 2v2. After that, we all got into position for the obstacle race. When the gun fired to signal our start, I just teleported to the end. With my run instantly done, I floated over the course to watch it all. Some Class N did use nomoform on some 3-pointers which were obstacle 1, but it was funny to see the bots go flying into the air. When the bots were about to crush someone, as they came hurtling down, I teleported the ruined machines to a pile nearby. For the bottomless pit section, I just watched everyone get across in their own way. I did put people back where they were if they fell. Most were thankful at least. When a minefield came up, I just watched and counted how many different colored powders they used in them. A few people came out looking like walking rainbows. That's when Midnight explained the rules for the cavalry battle and that I had 1,000,000 points for being first. I teamed up with Mei, Uraraka, and Tokoyami with a plan that made them all glad I was on their side. When I saw a flame tornado pop up during Class Ms. tournament, I knew which team made it instantly and smiled glad they learned. We all got to enjoy the first stretch of matches as a few went NF and arm wrestled. It was so funny to see that the audience was laughing as one gave another a wedgie. With half of their tournament done, we all got ready for Event 2. We had Uraraka on our shoulders, Tokoyami as lead, with Mei and I in the rear. When the round started, I made holes and tunnels appear everywhere with emerald siding. We hopped in, and everyone basically had to play cavalry whack-a-mole to even attempt to get our headband. As we popped out of one hole, for a little bit, we had Tokoyami's dark shadow steel headbands while people had their back turned. Unfortunately, Kakin figured it out, and he blasted Dark Shadow, causing him to retreat quickly. The buzzer rang soon after, so it wasn't too big of a deal. The same teams and tournament bracket. Everything other than Izuku's battles will be canon. My first fight was against Shinso. I simply shook his hand, boosting his quirk. Let's have a good fight, Shinso. I don't answer himself since he now doesn't need to ask questions to mind control people. We watched the last of Class Ms. tournament with Aang and Zuko winning. They both were happy as hell and rushed to hug me. I returned the hug, pass out the medals with second place Grumpy. It's okay, you guys did awesome. Next year, if you practice and train, you might win and get first place. Metal and lightning is a good combo, but you need to refine and choose your medals better. I hug them and give out the rest of the rewards with a few little pep talks to some. When my match starts, I just stood there. He starts to call me a villain and such with questions like, what's it like to be a villain's PP goblin? I actually laughed my butt off at that question. I never got that insult, but I thought up a question for him. What's it like to be liked by no one for a reason beyond your control? This stunned him as I quickly moved and pushed him out of the ring. I then told him, I boosted your quirk. Any reply to you is easy prey for your quirk now. With that, I walked away and watched the next few battles. My next match was against Todoroki. Since his JRK of a father was arrested and his mom is no longer in a mental ward, he has become much more open and does use his fire now. The second the match started, he created a steam cloud to block both of our sights. After a minute for the steam to banish, I had to quickly roll to the side as Todoroki had a very interesting idea. He formed ice over his fireside's hand and is using it as a cannon that blasts ice cannonballs as fast as he can blast and create them. Unfortunately for me, he got me a good few times with the ice cannonball, destroying my body some. Once there were shards of emeralds, green diamonds, jade, and green gold all over the arena, I turned them into gem mines, scaring everyone pretty badly. Someone screamed, saying, "Lobo exists. Run." No clue who or what Lobo is, but it scares that dude. As I healed, I had the gem mines distract Todoroki and tire him out. Once my body was healed, I blasted Todoroki with a jade cannonball, blasting him out of the arena, but he was caught by some gem mines, and I healed his wound. With that done, we all got let out for lunch, and according to some people near Lunch Rush's stand, they saw him run into the school screaming when he saw me get broken apart. At first, I didn't believe them until Lunch Rush returned with a pot big enough to fit Gigantomachia in and put it down in front of me. Lunch Rush panted, "This is all you're getting today. I will not make you any more food. This pot has 50 different sections of food, so you get some of all of this festival's options." I thanked him and gave him one of my arms and a leg. Some old guy who just now was walking by had his jaw drop. I know older generations joked about stuff costing an arm and a leg, but this is ridiculous. This made everyone there laugh, especially Lunch Rush and I. As I ate a variety of different foods, Power Loader came over and looked at me surprised. "Wait, Lunch Rush wasn't joking about you eating for hours." I shook my head as I finished a bunch of meatballs. I'm now glad I made him this odd pot and the dividers in it. "Please tell me you hid the SSB build directions in Mice book." I froze and packed up my lunch. Crud, I forgot to. We then spent the next half hour hunting down May after I warped my pot into a one spot in the bleachers with emeralds coating it as a warming. I finally find and corner her. "May, please tell me none of your stuff is powered by SSBs. I know you don't have any of the proper alloy to cover them properly." She paled and I trapped her to a wall and removed the batteries. I am so glad that Ida didn't blow up. This auto balancer you made didn't have inertial dampeners. After properly coating them in the alloy, I put them back and removed the emeralds holding May in place. "May, you cut in my lunch, so you are now banned from making anything from the notebook for a month." I walk away after giving her book to Power Loader to keep away from her. Of course I ate as the other battles happened. Being blasted apart into shards gets me hungry. When Ida and I went to the arena, I was ready to go, and I had a good prank to pull. As expected, he came full throttle at me and tried to push me out. I let him hit me only for everything except my bones to shatter and 4 more skeletons to do this dance all around the battle arena, just to cause Ida to get confused and cause some laughter. Once I was done singing and dancing, I kicked Ida out of the arena and reformed my body again before warping back to my food. When my match with Kakin was about to start, my nerves were shot. People kept bugging me as I was eating. You know, the made-up word used in Snicker commercials. I was the physical embodiment of that word with a side of rage. The second our match started, I warped him out of their battle arena and then warped into the pot with my food. Eventually, I felt my pot get moved to the award pedestal. Only when All Might was about to give me my medal did I poke my head out. "Can I eat in peace, please?" I snatched the medal and closed the lid again, grumbling. By the time I finished eating, the school was empty and it was dark out. I warped home and my mom knocked my head off before putting it back. "Izuku, I taught you better manners than that. I understand a side effect of your quirks is you do get hungry when you have to reform your body, but that was no way to accept the medal, and Midnight came looking for you. When I said you were still in that giant pot, she left sad. Tomorrow you will apologize to her and to All Might." "Understood." I nodded as I healed where she broke me. The next morning in class, I apologized to the two of them and explained why I ditched Midnight and was rude at the award ceremony. Both understood my reasons, and Midnight rescheduled it for tonight. "Why me?" Thank you for joining us on this journey through What If Deku Had Green Mineral Quirk. We hope you found it as captivating as we did. A big thank you to Lotus Moonveil for creating such an engaging story. Don't forget to visit their profile on Wattpad for more fantastic works. The link is in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Zenin Fanfics for more intriguing explorations into fanfiction and fantasy. Your support helps us create more content like this, and we love hearing your thoughts and suggestions in the comment section. See you soon in the next video.